going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 284. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E, sitting here on a Sunday, just 6 days away from the regular season opener at Q2 Stadium. It's the annual mega-sode. How you feeling, my friend?
Excited for the mega-sode, for sure. Doing well, man. Had a good day so far. Got a nice 40-mile bike ride in today with Rod beautiful and my brother. Weather. Yeah, beautiful weather. I probably got a little sun, which is unfortunate because I did not block up. So
classic.
I blame you for that, for not being there. As you can see, my new kit came today.
I see that. Look at that.
And I must say, it is awesome. It looks better in person than it does on my shitty little laptop camera here.
Okay.
But the green is great. The material is different. I'm a big fan. I really, really like it. I'm excited to wear it in 6 days.
Nice. Well, I got to go get one, I guess. I'm lagging
great.
over here.
Yeah.
Slacking.
Put it on the pay you later, pal.
Wallet. Yeah.
Pay you later, pal.
Well, man, while you were bike riding over, I was over with my fiance. It's my future mother-in-law's birthday today, so happy birthday again, Jackie. We took her out to that farmer's market there. I ran into our buddy Adrian Healy, so chopped it up with Adrian for a couple minutes there. So shout out to Adrian, and man, beautiful day outside.
Beautiful.
And hopefully we can get weather anywhere close to this for the opener. I gotta admit, I have not looked. I'm crazy, but I have not looked at the weather just yet for next Saturday. So I'm sure I'll do that as soon as we end this episode, which will be a while from now. Because again, if you are not a newbie here in the North End, you know that the episode before the season opener is typically quite long. And we've got a lot of things to go through here today. I mean, we had another international slot trade. We'll talk about the ramifications of that. We've got some player interviews that were taking place on other platforms. We've got our own player interview. Dani Pereira will be in the North End here today. We're going to talk to our buddy David Goss over at Soccerwise, do a little full season preview with him. Then, of course, we got to preview the season opener itself against the Loons coming to town 6 days from now. And, the annual nonsense here will cap off the mega-sode here in 2026. So before we get into all of that, just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that you can support the show financially for free by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts, so you can toggle on auto downloads. That'll support us that way going forward. You won't have to think about it again. You want to go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get your pods. That does help us grow the show, as does subscribing to the YouTube channel if you're watching here on YouTube. You can also hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 284, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle those YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. And look, if you want to just go full sicko, you can join our Patreon here as we head into the 2026 season. The QR code to join is on the screen right now. And of course, the link to sign up in the description of both the audio and video versions of this episode. And the window is, I guess you got to say, the window is always open here in the North End. We do not close our transfer window, but we're adding a number of new DPs to the roster here. Shout out to Chris Bolin for signing up. That was one. That threw you for a loop, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Look, we've E's got some childhood buddies, last name Bolin.
Yep.
One of them's named Christopher.
Yeah.
So Chris, when you signed up, I immediately texted you. I was like, CJ? And then you texted him. He was like, no, that's not me, bro. Because I was like, why is CJ listening to our podcast?
I was also baffled. I thought he was just supporting, but yeah, that threw me for quite the spin there, seeing Chris Bolin come across the desk.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get to meet Chris Bolin here in Austin very, very soon. Shout out to Hitchcock joining the Patreon as a DP member. So looking forward to meeting. Hey, always good when you get the one name guys in here in the soccer realm, right?
That's a strong last name.
You're setting the bar high, Hitchcock.
Yeah, that's a good last name.
Swoon Tower has invaded the North End. Mike Crignola joining up on that DP contract here in the North End. And actually, we are in the same league in the Verde Best Ball Pyramid, or the North End Best Ball Pyramid, I should say. Verde Best Ball League coming on Tuesday. And our final DP here, Schnorm Jones.
Hey.
First of North End lore. That's your roommate. So shout out to Jonesy, and looking forward to having him in the Best Ball League as well, man. Adding 4 DPs here in a week. We love to see it.
Yeah, dude, the budget is just it's way over the top. We're just blowing this money so fast.
Yeah, man. And look, we still have, I think, literally a couple DP slots open if you still want to get that free Sicko shirt. And we're going to be communicating to our Patreon members here throughout the week about when you can pick those up from us here. Hopefully on Saturday. Supposed to have those in here this week. And if you don't see us in person, of course, we will be making the appropriate arrangements, but you can still get in now at that DP level. You get the free shirt, of course, the free sticker that's going to go to the senior and DP levels. All Patreon members, regardless of level, are entered to win this team signed ball next to me. So again, it's all ramping up here leading up to the season opener, and welcome to all the new members.
Absolutely. Happy to have y'all.
So let's get into the myriad of things we have to talk about here today. Ian, the first thing I do, you know, we talked about you having the new kit on there, but of course that was officially revealed by the club on Tuesday. I did want to, we'll obviously talk about this throughout the episode, but I find it funny now, sitting here on Sunday, that these are the two players that the Twitter post highlighted for our kits, right? We've got the Heartbeat kit returning for its second and final year, and now the Rooted kit here is the new away kit. But Besard Savovic and Guilherme Biru were on the minds of Austin and Sporting KC fans once the weekend came. So going back to see this tweet now, I found that funny. But I did want to get kind of a closer picture here, and we'll go to our new friend Dani P here. I'm looking at those socks, dude. They've got 512 on them. Savovic also had those socks on, so I'm thinking those socks are maybe part of this uniform, and you know me as the lifelong Austinite that I appreciate anything referencing my hometown here. So I like the 512 socks.
I like the 512 socks. I like the shorts. I'm a big fan of this kit, man. It looks good.
Are we just gonna get you to be a full kit wanker this year? Like, no, we'll get you the shorts? Come on.
No.
Come on.
No, you do it. You want me to do it?
Yeah, I gotta get the jersey first, I guess, man.
Yeah,
so the new jersey's out. Maybe I'll wear mine next weekend. All right, let's talk some actual Austin FC business here, Ian. I can't, we are very pro Roto here in the North End, but this just seems like another piece of great business. Austin FC. Look, I'm just gonna say this. I was double right. Okay, because another international slot trade here, this one to the LA Galaxy, and this is in exchange for $240,000 in 2026 GAM. So you get $5K more than what we pulled off from that first international slot trade the previous week, and similar to that first international slot trade, this roster slot will also return to Austin FC at the opening of the secondary transfer window. So we pull up the roster sheets here at the northendpodcast.com, and you can see that's updated there. Both international slots 7 and 8 now unavailable until July 13th. And I think this is where we just need to have the Jorge Alistue conversation because both of us, and I know especially you, were high on what he did this preseason with the first team. We know his pedigree at that next pro level that he put on display last season. I got to say off the top, I am not surprised by this at all. And I'm trying to separate that from the idea that I think Jorge is good enough and deserving of a supplemental roster slot here. But I was really never to the point where I would be ecstatic that we were going to use one of those international slots on a supplemental roster player. And so from a purely roster build standpoint, I'm happy we did not. I would rather have the $250,000 in GAM, man. That is much more important for the first team roster build this season and going forward. You got almost $500,000 in GAM from those two slots for half a season, which again is like when we are last in the league in GAM, it's got to be a priority. And clearly it was for Roto.
Yeah. I mean, I did not anticipate Jorge finding his way onto this first team roster because of the designation that he has right now, and we've done a good job with the 2 DPs being on domestic, qualifications for this.
Yeah.
Did not anticipate Jorge making the cut here. And, it's not solely because of the international slot. He's got some work to do to improve to really feel in that conversation. But yes, of course, I'm going to take the $500,000 for half a season.
No, I mean, it's when you know about the rules of the league, it makes 100% sense. And dude, if you can get a green card for Jorge Alistue, then I'm 100% on board. Give him a supplemental slot then, right? And like, I think what would come first is probably those call-ups, because I don't recall the last guy, right? Like you think about a Jimmy or a Riley Thomas, right? Like those guys, the team exhausted their 4 call-ups before finally signing them to those supplemental first team deals. And I think we would see that happen with Jorge as well. But it was confirmed in the rules by me. And then I think Long Cow, our buddy, was the one who pointed this out in another group chat. But you have to have those international slots to call up an international slot player because, right, we know the second team has international slots as well. But just specifically for the first team, you have to have those slots. And so I was going back to like Val Noel. When he was getting his call-ups back in 2024, we did have international slots, and that's why that's why the team was able to get him on that short-term loan agreement because, right, we were bringing in the summer a Dessler, a Svatok, a Buka. We had a lot of space on that in terms of those international slots, so it wasn't a problem then, but we're up against it now, and again, the $250,000 in GAM for each slot is worth much more than any of our second-team players can give the first team at present.
Absolutely.
So we'll keep our eyes on that, of course, because, Jorge, we think a guy that is very much qualified for that spot, but just doesn't work out right now within the rules, man. And that's MLS.
Yeah, man. That's a bit of a disappointment for him. I did not know that you had to have an open international slot for those call-ups. So that really stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. That was something
again, to be expected.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. So the Cooligans, right, is another soccer. I mean, that they've been around, I don't know how long now. It's got to be a decade plus, but they had Brandon Vazquez on earlier this week. So I would, as soon as you get done with all your Austin FC independent media this week, right, you can go check out that interview with the Cooligans. But dude, of course he's going to get questions about the fans and the differences between Liga MX and MLS, and like not a ton of revelatory stuff there. He said Austin fans are a big motivation for him because of the passion that the fans show inside and outside of the stadium, right? But he also said things that other guys who have played in other countries, specifically to our geographical south, have said that like the pressure from fans is a huge difference, right? And so like those two P words there, the passion they love, that is on display, but the pressure maybe not so much. And like he also said it goes both ways, right? Because if it's going well, people everywhere are gonna love you, the fans are gonna love you. But when it's not going well, it's less hospitable in some of those other places, particularly around Monterrey where Brandon was before this. He also says he feels stronger than he's ever been. And this is what stood out to me, dude. He said he has to go because, we've been for almost 9 months now trying to nail down when that return date is going to be. He said that the performance team has to have him with 4 weeks of contact drills before he hits the field for us in a competitive match. So first week of March, dude, we're looking for any kind of evidence that Brandon Vazquez is out there in those contact drills at practice, because until we see evidence of that, you really can't start the clock. And then it's 4 weeks from then until we should expect him. So first week of March is kind of my next BV landmark that I'm looking for. Probably a better term that I could use, but you get what I'm saying. So overall, man, it was good to hear from Brandon. He seems like he's in very good spirits. And, I think most guys will say, oh, I'm feeling good, I'm excited. But like when he said, I feel like I'm stronger than I've ever been, I don't necessarily doubt that, man, because think about the work he was doing before he got his surgery, right? When he's waiting for that swelling to come down, he's still getting workouts in, keeping everything as strong as he possibly can. We know he's been working his ass off. So I can't wait. It was a good update.
Yeah, that's a good update. I'm still a little taken aback by that 4-week timeline of like contact stuff before they're going to clear him to be ready to go. That seems like a pretty substantial amount of time to be like taking that on, and like probably, they're progressing him along with like things that get gradually more intense, I would imagine. Right. But that still seems like a pretty long timeline in my estimation. And, in regard to feeling stronger than he ever has, I'm just going to need to see it. That's you don't got to tell me. I just got to see it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm like, dude, if he does come back for that Miami match, he's missing 5 regular season games.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing compared to what I think some fans may have been expecting, or what it could be, right? If he wasn't on track. Like, this is kind of the average time. So if he went over that number, I'd be a little bit more concerned about it. And we only have like 14 of the 34 before the World Cup break. So like, it's almost like this is going to be 2 seasons in itself, dude. We almost got an Apertura Clausura kind of style here with the World Cup break in the summer. And that's going to allow him, I think, to, come get some run out. Maybe he gets to the level where he's starting some matches, but like to be able to get a couple games under him, get his legs back, take that, almost 2-month break. And then we've got, 20 games sprint to the finish. I think it's setting up pretty nicely because he's not coming back to the full run of an MLS season. We're going to have that break built in.
Yeah, that's a good point there. And no setbacks thus far that we know of. I don't think, that has been discussed or anything. So that's great. And like, you got to get that first game out of the way. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to have to come back, get the jitters out, kind of get his groove back, and then you can see him potentially starting. Very excited to have him back and see what that looks like and get these guys fully playing together, fully ramped up.
Don't think I didn't see you going, ooh, when I said the word Miami.
Yeah.
I don't have the Will Smith drop here, E, but North End going to Miami.
Hey.
Cannot wait for that, man. So that's going to be our first out of Texas trip for this team, right?
I'm excited, man. I'm super excited.
Yeah, E in Miami. I know H had words about that in the offseason, right?
But I'm just excited that me and you are going to get to go, little guys thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey,
do a little some bro shit.
It's
on the beach.
Always a blast, man.
Yeah,
you're going to be out there, ready for beach time. South Beach E.
There we go.
So before we get to these preseason match recaps, Roto Presser scheduled for Tuesday morning. Apparently will not be live streamed, but posted in full by the team afterwards. And that's always something that we eat up here in the North End because, kind of it's not the end of the window, but like beginning of the season presser, kind of giving us the lowdown on what the off season was, potentially giving us some clues into what's coming in that summer window. This is something we get preseason, postseason, sometimes after that summer window as well. So just wanted to put that on everybody's radar. Anything else for you, E, before we talk about these last 2 preseason matches?
No, sir.
Oh, we did get a little Bogert bomb here, E, just because his name pops up frequently here on the show. Nashville is acquiring Reed Baker-Whiting from the Seattle Sounders. So, yeah, Reed Baker-Whiting, who famously winless at Palmer Field and I think undefeated at Q2. Yeah. I guess last year, right, we beat Seattle finally. Reed Baker-Whiting, one of our nemesis here in the North. Damn. So now in Nashville.
That's a good get.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good get. He's like we've clowned him a little bit and everything, and like we had some words for him at Palmer, but like he's a good player.
Yeah, and super young too.
Yeah, he's good.
So moving into the final 2 games of the preseason, of course, both of these were out there at the Coachella Valley Invitational. Man, this matchup with Chicago, man, I think on paper, assuming health, right, which none of these teams are running out there starting 11, out there at Coachella more often than not. Chicago is probably the best team on paper that we have seen or would see this preseason. And dude, like, this one wasn't streamed, But shout out to our buddy Jesse, man. Like, you see him here on the YouTube. Got that picture with our buddy CJ there. Big thanks to Jesse for helping to keep the sickos informed and kind of going through, our channels, passing us some information as the game went on. Again, not streamed. So and big thanks to the Coachella Valley Invitational, man, for approving those media credentials. Like, we were laughing about it.
Yeah.
Just because, we've been trying to get credentialed by Austin FC for years now, right? Mm-hmm. And for the CVI to just say, yeah, come on in. It's like, oh,
come on, guy.
So, and dude, Jesse was doing some great work out there because, able to confirm that Dessler was going to miss in the pregame warmups, right? Confirmed for us that Stuver was out and Damian Loss was going to get the start. I think he even nailed the starting lineup 20 minutes before we saw it posted by the team. So you're getting some real insider info here from Jesse. And dude, something that I didn't think of until an hour ago before we recorded, that maybe we should have expected a Loss start here because technically this is a revenge match for him, dude. He came up in the Chicago Academy and that's what we had to trade for his homegrown rights when we got him, when he came back stateside from Fulham. It may have been on loan, I think, to a USL side, but either way, did spend time in that Fire Academy, and that is where we got the homegrown rights for Damian Loss. So, and then, dude, once the game started, Jesse also confirmed to us that this was kind of the alignment out there. And I think the surprising thing in this lineup is that Joseph Rosales goes from left wing, where he's been playing the vast majority of the preseason minutes, all the way over to the right wing.
Yeah.
And you do have Robert Taylor in there starting with him. You had the first preseason minutes for Mirtu Azuni, the first minutes ever for Facundo Torres in an Austin FC kit. Behind him in the midfield, Danny and Ilie. Back four of Kolmanic, Bells, Fatak, Galley, and then Damian in net. And I know we saw, and we'll get to the second match here in a minute, we saw Joseph Rosales playing on that right wing on Wednesday and on Saturday here.
Mm-hmm.
And I look, we've already put it on record on the show that if everybody is healthy and we see Joseph Rosales starting on the wing, that we're not going to be happy about that. Yeah. But I think it makes some sense, whether it's Taylor or Jaden Nelson as the winger pairing with Joseph Rosales here early in the season, because it appears we're getting Rosales and Nelson, I think, next weekend on the wings.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense to me to put Jaden on the left, where that's his strongest position. And if Rosales is already out of position, having him and Gallagher over on that other side, Joseph can cut in on that left foot. Galley can overlap him, out wide. I don't hate that. And I think if we're going to play Rosales on the wing where he's out of position anyways, give me Nelson or give me Taylor in their strongest position, and Rosales can make it work. What are your thoughts here? Because, again, everything else here is kind of as we expected. Especially, and maybe not everybody expected Facundo Torres to be kind of the 10 in this formation, but I think that makes a ton of sense, at least until Owen comes back. And you don't know, dude, are we going to see Owen on the wing or central? And I also think, watching more of the Sporting match, the first half when these guys were out there together, I think they're fairly interchangeable up top between Nelson and Torres and Wolf and Rosales, etc. So again, we got to see more on tape, but what are your thoughts on the lineup here from Wednesday?
I mean, I brought up my level of concern with, the injuries that we're facing right now, the fact that now we're 6 days away from our opening matchup versus a good team. We're going to talk about and preview Minnesota and talk about the players that they lost and the fashion that they lost some of these players in, but they did retool their solid club. And we knew Rosales could move around. I didn't know he was going to be playing. We could throw him at right wing.
Yeah, and I didn't write anything.
And it's if Facu is going to be out there with that left foot, a predominantly left-footed player, I get what you're trying to do here, but I don't forecast Owen playing on the wing at this point.
Okay.
He's going to be centrally, in my opinion. So I'm just a little worried about the fact that we haven't been able to really hammer down where some of these guys are going to be, and I like the idea of being able to move Rosales around, and we're going to deal with some injuries in this season, guys resting, what have you, and being able to kind of deploy him where we see fit is great. But still, I am working towards this continuity aspect of this team to be ready day one, ready to roll. But it's just not going to it's not going to be that way. We're going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be banged up.
Yeah. And you got to, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that the rest of the team stays relatively healthy before we get those guys back.
Yep.
You know, like it is a well above a small chance, I think, that we're just never fully healthy this season, because we're not going to be fully healthy till at least April with BV. And like, if you keep a clean slate on the injury report till then, you're very, very lucky. So I think it's starting off as an uphill climb, and that's never a good thing, right?
No,
it doesn't spell
behind
doom, but it's never a great thing.
Yeah, we're behind the 8 ball a little bit for sure.
Yeah. So some notes from that Chicago game again. Shout out to Jesse for getting us some of the not necessarily the highlights, but some clips from that game. Like, he did catch the first Chicago goal. It was in the 12th minute. Second ball off a corner kick there, headed in. But it only took the team 15 minutes to equalize, and it was Robert Taylor who drew us level. And this shot kind of received the pass on the left side of the box, drug it from left to right, uncorks this shot that looks like it deflects on the replay. You need the sound up to really get this. Deflects off Joel Waterman there, one of the center backs for Chicago, and in. But we'll take him however we can get him, man. So you're 1-1 there. And then you have 5 subs 40 minutes in here. So Djordjevic, Badawia, Thomas, Sabovic, and Dubersarski came in for Svatok, Rosales, Gallagher, Facundo Torres, and Ilie. So short day's work for those 5 guys, but again, with the, what you would think they'd be treating as a dress rehearsal on Saturday, and they pretty much did. It makes sense for some of those guys to get a short run out, and especially Facu coming in with his first run. So 40 minutes for Facu. At the half, 2 additional changes. CJ came in for Mir too, so Azuni gets the full first half, and Irvin Torres came in for Dani, so a full half for Dani. 63rd minute, more subs. Heinz Eich in for Bell. Jaden Nelson came in for Robbie Taylor, the goal scorer, and Guilherme Biru came in for Jean Kolmanich. Took Jaden 2 minutes, and he has his first Austin FC goal. And this one, I couldn't really tell. I'm leaning towards that this was a deflection by the defender rather than a Sabovic perfect back heel. I would rather it be the latter.
Yeah.
But I think it was the former. But the ball rolls right into Jaden's path, and he just calmly slots this home past Chris Brady. So Austin, for a while there, had their first and only lead out there at the Coachella Valley Invitational. 5 minutes after that go-ahead goal, you get Jorge Alistue in for Mo Badawia, and then 82nd minute, the Fire did equalize. And off another corner kick here, E. So, I think the set-piece defense is something to watch for in the early parts of the season. Hopefully that was just kind of an abnormality of this game on Wednesday. And so it ends 2-2 on Wednesday against the Fire. And, dude, after the match, dude, going back to Jesse's awesome work, which we're not done with here, but big thanks to Mirtu Azuni and John Kolmanich for taking some time with Jesse to talk to him post-game. It was great to hear from them, really relaxed setting out there at Coachella, and awesome for them to make time for us.
Yeah, Jesse really leaned into it, man. We were talking with him a little bit about, talking to players and everything, and we had the Dani interview going on, and we were just like, man, we're fucking nervous. We're not even in person doing it. So it was great to see him kind of lean into that. Super satisfied with the amount of time for Facu and Mirtu in particular. Getting Mirtu back, having him get acclimated. I think that's one of the things that actually Jesse kind of talked about with Kolmanich, where it was just he was excited about Mirtu being all the way back and what that means for the team. So happy to see Mirtu get that time. No setbacks there. I'm not going to look too much into the set piece defense for their 2 goals. Stuff we can clean up. This is not the choice 11 for that as well. And with Robbie Taylor, we had our little, God damn it, Robbie Taylor, complaining session from the game
from
prior to this one, and to see him get that, and if it's deflected or not, it feels like a confidence builder. And when you're in a space that Robbie Taylor is in kind of right now, where it's just we're moving him around a little bit. He hasn't really found a footing of what he does for this team.
Sure.
Anything like that. So any type of confidence builder that you can get, deflection or not, great. That left foot from Jaden Nelson, beautiful, beautiful strike. So happy to see both of those things, and definitely a huge shout out to Jesse.
So moving to Saturday, I think we got more shout outs for Jesse, dude, because pregame and we knew going in, that this match, right, this one was going to be streamed. So it was like, hey, dude, in the game, like, enjoy it. Like, that's why you were out there in the first place. But pregame, he's hanging out, media access area. And I was actually FaceTiming with him. We're trying to figure out who the expected starters were. And you could see him if you're watching on the YouTube. Jesse nailed them again. All 11 guys out there just from watching the warm-ups. But, dude, as he's standing there, fucking Nico walks by. Comes and says what up to him. He's just being super nice, the guy he is. Yeah. And I'm sitting there on FaceTime, so I was like, hey, coach. So I asked him about Dessler. He's like, yeah, man, Dessler, we expect him back soon, but he's out today. But that's not a timeline, man. Not that I'm entitled to one, but I know that certainly me as a fan, and we've talked about underscored how important we think Mikael Dessler is to the success of this team on both sides of the ball. I know that in January, this was, I believe, reported, I want to say by Verde all day, that it was either an adductor or an abductor injury, right? Groinal area.
Yep.
If there was a suggestion that was going to run into the season, I certainly missed it. And so, this is, we don't, I'm just hoping that, as we get into more consistent media availabilities, especially those face-to-face, as we get into the regular season, that we can uncover some sort of timeline for Dessler here, because we saw him in the practice crumbs that we picked up, I think Friday, that he's still on doing the non-contact drills with Brandon and Owen, which does not indicate, he is doubtful at best for Saturday. And I would be shocked if he suited up.
I would be shocked if he suited up. It would have to be some sort of miraculous kind of turnaround where it's just like, oh shit, yeah, we haven't done anything with you all preseason. Yeah. And I don't even know if that would make sense, because he's clearly not in game shape. There's no way, you're doing non-contact stuff on the side. You're not in fucking game shape, ready to go. So again, that is a big concern for sure. And like you said, that is not a timeline. And Nico wasn't prepared for that kind of question, wasn't ready to.
It's not. It's not a fucking press conference. It's just on the sideline.
But that's just him just kind of talking off the cuff, and it's just dude, he's not ready. And that's going to be, like you talked about before. It's like we're already behind the 8 ball. I don't see any way Dessler, suits up 30 games this season.
I mean, he just hasn't been healthy his whole time. It just
hasn't happened. So we'll see.
Well, shout out to Coach, because that was awesome, man. And that was super nice to me. Very nice to Jesse standing there. And obviously Jesse, like you said, he's not a reporter. He's just our buddy that we got out there, So, and again, you see the lineup here on the screen. It was mostly the same as Wednesday, but a few changes there. From back to front, Stuver, Biru, Svatak, Heinzeit, Gallagher, Ilie, Dani, Rosales and Nelson on the wings, Nelson on the left, Rosales on the right, Facu centrally with Azuni up top. And unless somebody picks up a knock here this week, man, this is the 11 on Saturday, right?
This is the 11 on Saturday. Yep. And here's Facu's chance, to be that distributor in the middle that guys were talking about this offseason after we grabbed him. So here's his chance here. We'll see what it looks like.
So I thought in the first half, Austin doesn't end up scoring in this game at all. But the first half, I thought they were the team that looked much better. And for Austin in a vacuum, going forward, and look, you're playing against Sporting. Sporting probably ends up last place in our Western Conference predictions here this year. But the intent going forward, I thought there was a lot of changing balls through the air, diagonal balls, some line breaking passes. And you saw that the offense when we were in possession was not as compact, right? They were, it seemed like to me on the stream that they were being very intentional, trying to be more aggressive and direct going forward. I also thought when we lost the ball, there was some periods of just noticeable counter press. Yep. And with the youth movement that we know, the guys in and the guys going out, the guys coming in, I would love to see more of that this year. If they actually play like that, right, then it's a more exciting brand of soccer. But I think this is especially with what we talked about with Dani, and the listeners will hear that in a few minutes. But I think this is matchup and or preseason specific. I'm not letting myself get excited about that 45 minutes where, again, they didn't score, but I thought they looked very dangerous. And for a group of guys that haven't had a ton of minutes together, I was very encouraged by that first half. And I think as we get into talking about the second half here, we should all try to remember how the first half looked, because the second half was a shit show. But after that shit starts, man, everything after that, I don't care. Yep. I don't care.
Yeah. It's just out the window at that point. You're coming up on the end of this Coachella Invitational. Yeah. Guys want to go home. I get that. And that is something, a little bit of spoiler that we talked about with Dani and the prep work that the team had for the Chicago matchup, where he was like, it was a much bigger scout. We were playing that game specifically to match Chicago. So I'm going to also be on board with you there, where it's like, this was a Sporting KC kind of game plan. And yes, they are not a very good club. They do have a very dangerous player, and he ends up scoring.
So just a couple notes from that game leading up to some of the clips I want to show you. 37th minute, you did get a yellow card to Svatok, which was on the heels of a chance for Joseph Rosales that Zoran Basong barely got to first. There's a number of chances there where it was, almost, barely, nearly, which again, those got to start being goals, right? We talk about XG and actual G a lot last year. Yellow card in the 41st to a Sporting player for a foul on Torres. And Facu, dude, had been fouled 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, they're touching him up. Yeah.
Put him on his ass 2 or 3 times. Like, he was not happy. But I think that also highlights how much attention is put on him and the things that he can do to draw gravity. And, like, dude, putting him and Owen next to each other feels pretty exciting. That's an exciting proposition to me. But I think this also highlights that this game was physical before it got out of hand. And I don't know if it helped or not that it was fucking Victor Rivas out there who loves to throw the cards around.
For sure. And like, the fouls to Facu, touching him up a little bit and everything, that definitely played a role in what transpires here in this second half, because he's the new guy. You know what I mean? He's the new shiny thing here in Austin and everything. We're going to have to keep him protected and upright.
So the first SKC goal came in the 43rd minute, kind of against the run of play in my eyes, and it was a headed goal by Dejan Joveljic, who, we're big fans of Dejan.
Yep.
Only when he's scoring against our favorite team do I not like that guy, man. Off a cross from Steven Afrifa there. But, again, preseason, so you don't really, you don't take the goals against really too hard. And, like, in that moment, I was like, guys, that's a good goal, man. Like, I don't know if anybody saw it that would disagree with that. But getting into the second half, man, you get subs in the 63rd minute. CJ comes in for Mirtu. Duber comes in for Ilie. John Bell comes in for Svatok. Robbie Taylor comes in for Facu. And Sabo comes in for Rosales. So 60-plus minutes for Mirtu, who just started playing 4 days ago. Same for Torres, right? Like, I love seeing those type of minutes, because you should expect, I think, a minimum 60 to 65 out of those guys in the opener, if not more, with another week of training ahead. 68th minute, you get a yellow card to Zoran Basong for a late slide on Gallagher while he was headed out of bounds. And that was a reckless, dirty challenge. And then the next minute, you get a red card to Besard Sabovic. So I have this clip here, E, for the YouTube viewers. Let's go ahead and watch this one. And it's a tough angle, but it looks like Sabo just kind of comes up, challenge there, and then swings his arm back. You see that?
Yeah. Yep.
And Rivas comes over, immediate straight red, and you see the Sporting players and Joveljic there actually trying to kind of break some of those, put his teammates away from Sabovic. But there was not much argument from anybody on the Austin roster, the Austin bench, and it made me think in the moment immediately back to the closed door friendly that we ended up getting some access to last preseason against Nashville, where we didn't show that clip, because it was closed door, but we saw Sabovic last year in the preseason look like he put a knee in the back of the dude's head while he was on the ground.
Yeah.
So this seems to me to be a little bit of a pattern. And another thing that we'll talk about with Dani is, like, we're going to need some shithousery, some of that toughness, right? As Dani would put it, right? A motherfucker out there. But, like, you can't go over the line. And so, like, if you're going to do this preseason, okay, right? Yeah. Like, okay, the discipline doesn't carry over, but that was not a great look. And I just want to go ahead and get into this one, E, because it was like 4 or 5 minutes later. You see Pulskamp here with the ball, trying to get the long throw. and that's Guilherme Biru in pursuit. In this challenge, that might be the most reckless challenge I've seen watching an Austin FC match. Straight red for Biru. I mean, he knows it. You can see it on his face right there.
Yeah.
And I don't blame the Sporting players for being so upset about this because, dude, I was saying this to some folks yesterday. This is a terrorist challenge here. Like, there is you can go straight. You are straight rated for that on FIFA every time.
Yeah, that was a dangerous tackle by Biru there. Jumping back to the Sabovic thing, you got to, like, if you're gonna do that and take a shot at a guy, dude, you got to be a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the play's
over. You got to be Jean
Colemanich,
right?
The ball is moved, and then you do, like, it's just a real herky-jerky kind of spaz movement where it's just like, yeah, that's obvious, dude. So can't be mad about either of these dudes getting ejected here. The Biru challenge, obviously, he's not a household name in regard to MLS fans, but, like, he is earning a bit of a reputation because, the Ricky Pooch tackle that took place and the way people reacted to that, particularly some of the media, and how they were framing that, that kind of lasts with you. And this is that's dirty, man. That's a dirty foul. Yeah, that's a dirty foul.
And we will go to great lengths to defend our guys.
Yeah.
When that kind of stuff is in question, we got no legs to stand on here.
No, neither does that SKC dude.
Yeah, and then SKC also gets a red card a couple minutes later for kicking the ball away, delay a game. Second yellow. So 3 reds here. Dude, if Victor Rivas was on that game last Saturday, I think Colemanich is ejected too.
Yeah.
But ended up, they got a goal at the very end. Again, we're down to 9 men. So once Sabo was thrown out, everything's out the window. The sub plans, everything like that. But I think this is a good place to bring up a listener question from our buddy Aries, who asked us in the Discord, are y'all concerned about the season at all based on what we saw or didn't see in the preseason? And then also, do you have any concerns about Mirtu Izuni? And look, I think like all of us here in America E can agree that like we shouldn't be concerned about really anything when the Dow is over 50 thou. But like jokes aside, I am concerned that the offense won't be elevated to the level that we'll need to jump from 6th up into that top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you would love to see the offensive guys ready to go or not in the preseason. You would love to see more goals be put on the scoreboard. And we have nothing to point to say, look what they just did in these meaningless games. Maybe they carry that over. If you're carrying over this preseason, we ain't scored. What are we getting to 37 goals? Right. And like,
yeah,
I don't think it would take much of a defensive tick downward either to end up battling for the wild card spot if you don't have the offense firing at a higher clip than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
So like I haven't landed exactly on where I think Austin will be like in our season-long predictions, but I could have certainly left preseason feeling better. But if you go back through our preseason record all time, dude, overall, we have played 37 preseason matches over 6 preseasons, 14 wins, 13 losses, and 10 draws. Against USL competition, that's 10 wins, no losses, 3 draws. That's about what you would expect and hope for, right? You want to keep that 0 on the loss column in preseason matches with the D2 teams. But MLS sides, dude, 4 wins, 13 losses, 6 draws. And we played, I think it was Atlas in a preseason friendly once. So we have 1 draw against Liga MX preseason fixtures here. But I can't bring myself to be truly worried about the offense until we at least get Owen back. Mm-hmm. But I think it's fair to say BV2. And again, like it's not guaranteed that we're going to see all these guys out there together in the first 14 games before the World Cup break. But it's also not like Brandon Vazquez wasn't our leading scorer, as bad as the offense was when he got hurt. Mm-hmm. Owen and BV are 2 huge pieces to the overall functionality of this team, not just offensively. So in terms of the overall results of the team, I'm not worried yet in terms of the offense. I don't think there's been much defensively to raise alarm bells about either. But I like I said earlier, they did not provide me with anything to point to and be like, there's some evidence of how it's going to be better this year.
Yeah. I'm concerned for the first game. I really am. I don't feel like we are trending in the right direction right now. Obviously, injuries are a part of that. And, to be like, is BV and Owen going to be this kind of mixture, savior juice to come in and like transform this offense from what it looked like in this preseason?
Savior juice.
To being, where we want to be in this Western Conference table is yet to be seen. But it also can't be understated how important both of those guys are to what we're going to be trying to do. But I am concerned for the first couple games here. I am, and Mirtu coming back, working his way back, the way that he looked to finish last season, playing in that striker position by himself.
Yeah.
That's encouraging. I'm good with that. I'm on record thinking that he's going to have a bounce back year here in 26 and change some people's minds about the type of player that he is. So that's good. Obviously, Facu, man, can he be that dude that raises all ships on the offensive side of the ball? Can he do it? That's the big question. We've talked about the timeline with him moving into his prime, how much we like that concept. We talked about with Goss about, him leaving Orlando and how that kind of looked, and the fact that they said he wasn't that dude. You know what I mean? The guy to build the entire team around, despite getting a nice little return for him. He was 23 at the time as well, I believe. Yeah. So obviously you gave him a short window to really, turn some heads. So I'm concerned for this first couple of games. I do think obviously Minnesota has a lot of question marks around their team right now. And I did mention that they did retool. They look like they're going to be a talented team. Yeah. Can they put that all together? And then you get DC United. You know what I mean? A team that's not, blowing anyone out of the water.
We're going to be favored.
So, those two first matchups, if you can walk away from that with 2 wins, I'd be thrilled with where we're at right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just to finish up on that and appreciate Ari's for the question, I think my biggest concerns with Mirtu just haven't changed. It's the mental side. And I think there's additional hurdles potentially there because of what just happened 2 weeks ago. If he had truly agreed to personal terms to leave and then that didn't come through, he could be just putting on a smiling face and really not happy about still being here. That is a possibility at this point. And so I think, again, that's going to be a storyline that potentially flares up throughout these first 14 games. If it's not just if he's not performing, it's, does he want to be here? And do we start getting more rumors as we head towards that secondary window? So anyway, we'll talk plenty more about that. I think previewing the Minnesota match here in a little bit on this episode. And of course, throughout the first few weeks and months of the season. But let's get to that interview with Pep. Dani Pereira took a ton of time out of his Friday out there at Coachella to talk to us. So let's talk to Dani. All right, everybody. We teased it earlier in the episode. We are very excited to welcome our guest today. He's the first ever draft pick for Austin FC, the man with the 3rd most appearances in club history. It is Dani Pereira arriving in the North End. Dani, appreciate you joining us here, man.
What's up, man? Thank you for the invite. The introduction, good as well. So
yeah, all right, man. Well, so got a number of questions for you here today. I want to start talking about the preseason. Obviously, we're talking to you on Friday. All of our listeners are going to hear this on Sunday, so still got 1 preseason game to go when we're talking here. But I want to wind it back to when you guys were in Austin, because we both had the flu a week ago, and Coach said that you missed some practice time with the flu in January. So did that, that was terrible for us. So did that set you back at all in terms of your fitness or your form this preseason?
Yeah, I mean, it hit me 2 weeks in after preseason started. So it kind of set me back a little fitness wise, game wise. I couldn't play the amount of minutes they would like me to play. So yeah, those 2, 3 days with the flu are terrible, man. They suck. But Preseason's been good. We're all back home in Austin. A little cold, but not too cold. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been good so far.
Nice. Well, yeah, and we were all of us watched the stream of the St. Louis game last weekend, and we were sitting here on the show and kind of shitting on you guys, and like we were talking about you, and I was like, we're sitting here coming off the flu. Maybe we got to give Danny a little breathing room here if he was dealing with what we were dealing with. So like, but we saw the St. Louis game, right? Season ticket holders got to watch the game against New York, but we can't watch all of these.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you think the team has done well so far? Like thinking about all 5 games that you guys have played in the preseason.
Yeah, I think we started adding new ideas the first 2, 3 weeks
Okay.
compared to what we were last year. And we were kind of struggling a little bit. So I think coming to Coachella, we like all sat down and we were kind of like, let's master what worked for us last season. And then, it's a short preseason, but with so many games, you can really put in too many ideas out there, especially with new guys and new additions. Like you want to get them on board with what you already have, and instead of adding something new to everyone, especially to new guys, and not telling them what we did last year. But I think in Coachella we adapted or we started working more on mastering what we like our formation and our
Mm-hmm.
gaming style from last season, and it happened after St. Louis. St. Louis was a rocky game. Um, but then who did we play last game?
It was Chicago midweek.
Yeah, we played Chicago. Sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
good, bro. It's a lot of reps out there, a lot of games, like
oh
you
man.
said.
And then we play how we set up for Chicago like we played last year, like same ideas as last year, and it went better. We all felt better about it. So we still have one more game tomorrow against Kansas. So we'll see how it goes. The last game of preseason before the first game, the home opener, and we're excited, man. Ready, um, ready to go.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Right
Oh,
on.
we had our buddy Jesse was out there for the game against Chicago, and he said, you guys looked a little bit more cohesive than the glimpses we've seen so far. I'm sure it helps to get guys like Mir too back out there, right? Faku in there for his first preseason minutes, but as you might be able to tell, Danny, like I love to hear myself talk, so I want to let E get some questions in here because he does talk too.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure. Big fan, man. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
So we talked about the present a little bit, but we're going to jump back here. And as we mentioned, obviously you're Austin's first ever draft pick. You're also the first Venezuelan to be a top draft pick in any draft across all major sports. So that's pretty impressive in itself. But with that comes a level of like expectation. And I know a lot of people, I know that you hold yourself to a high standard, as does this fan base. But since you were introduced here, there's been something about you that fans have like really resonated with, and you've been a fan favorite for a long time here. What do you think it is about your game or your personality that has really like endeared you to the fan base here in Austin?
Yeah, I mean, my game wise, like I've come from Venezuela. I wasn't the wealthiest, I wasn't the poorest. We had, I come from a very good circle family wise. Like my mom, my dad are still they've been married since I was born, like those are the little things that sometimes people should take into consideration when they get to know someone.
Mm,
We moved to US, with literally nothing, and it's just the resilient part and our family and me, and um I pretty much thankfully, and I'm so proud of me and my family as well, that everything that I have it's been hard work from me, my mom, my dad, that we all put in together, and sacrifices and whatnot. And I think that's what's my whole life's been about. Obviously now this is my 6th year, and I wouldn't change it for anything. And I don't know, I'm happy where I am. I'm happy in Austin. My family, my parents are there, who are the most important thing to me. And
mm.
uh, yeah, that's just what I am. That's my personality. Could be
Yeah.
goofy sometimes too, you know.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. You're yourself. I think that's what
And
people really resonate with. Yeah.
yeah, I'm very outgoing with the fans. You know, I if they ask for pictures, whatever, autograph, always welcome. And you know, it's only been my only team professionally, so it's the least I could do to give back to them. So
Yeah, we love having you, man. So over these last 5 years, there's been obviously a ton of highs, ton of lows. What season or like moment of a season has been the most challenging for you personally so far?
probably my rookie season, man. True.
Hmm.
That rookie season was tough. It was obviously it was fun. It was the first rookie season. You know, you're so excited to go, but the the difference from college to pro is just it's like you can tell. You know, you can tell in the player, you can tell in the workload and the schedule and um everything. Like coming from college, like you only play like 3 months of a year. Here, you play 9 months of a year, like three times.
Yeah.
And it's every day, like college, you get maybe 3 days off. So
Mm-hmm.
like I also started playing a new position in my rookie year, so it was just like everything was new to me. And but I mean that's what made me into who I am today. That learning process is always important in every player. Every player has a different pathway, you know, um like from not playing to playing a different position, playing a position that you like, but the coach doesn't see that, or there's so many different pathways that each player has that makes them grow into what they are and who they are. So, um, probably my rookie season though, to answer your question.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, that's a good answer, man.
Well, and like I'm glad you brought up the rookie season because I think as fans, I think most of us would probably say 2023 or 24 because like 21, us as fans, we're just happy you guys are here. Like we never had a team like
Yeah.
this, right? So, but one thing I remember from when you sat down with the We Are Austin TV guys in their studio before last season is like, right, Nico's coming in as the new head coach. And you mentioned how, like, under Josh, that you thought that he helped like progress your career, right? Like, in part, shifting your position coming in that first season. And you told those guys that, like, you felt like you understood his style of play, like what he wanted out of you, felt like you thrived in that system. And then you said, right, because that interview was like this time last year. So you just had training camp with Nico. You knew him a couple weeks. The one thing you said was that his style gave you a little bit more freedom through that first couple weeks of practice. So after like playing for Coach Estevez for a year, is there anything else that you've learned about him or his coaching style that you like or appreciate?
Yeah, I like before with Josh, I kind of felt like I couldn't leave that rookie he saw in me, you know? Like he will
Sure.
always look at me like I talk to him all the time. Like I'm my best one of my best
You see
friends
him next
all.
week at the Q, right?
Yeah, no, literally. I've seen him here a couple of times.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
talked and you know, he's turned me into what I am. He's more like a dad, honestly. But I feel like with him I could never leave. He always encouraged me to like be a leader, you know, you gotta grow up at some point. Like you're not a rookie anymore, you're an important player. Like, but I feel like me myself, like I couldn't break that because it was just I was drafted by him. Like I was like the first. He was my first coach. So like
Mm-hmm.
then with Nico, like you know, after being here for 4 years, when before he came and we talked, he was like, "You gotta be a leader. You've been here for 4 years. You're one of the vets on the team. You've been here since the beginning." So like with him, I think I kind of took that step forward, and you know, I like his system as well. I have a lot of freedom. He trusts me a lot with like anything like playing, keep you know with someone on the team that's not doing well like mentally or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or
Hmm.
just kind of being more of a leader, a grown man, and that we need on the team. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, I feel like we've noticed that over the years, your maturity and stuff, growing up and being more vocal out there. Like we see it. And I think it's something that we appreciate for sure because
Mm-hmm.
we need those voices on this team, man. So there's a lot of buzz about the club right now. big signings coming in. A lot of money has been sent. We're very excited over here, particularly in the North End, about this team's chances this season. And I don't want to speak for you, but like obviously last year, the struggles on the offensive side of the ball seem to be a big issue, and that's probably something that you guys are working on this offseason. But what's something that you're focused on in particular, like an aspect of your game that you're looking at pretty closely, like under a microscope, to try to improve that ultimately will help the team on the offensive side of the ball?
I think understand like what I want to do is like understand everyone's positions, like the roles when it comes to games and like attacking and defending, being more of a leader, more vocal. That's what I'm trying to focus on. Just so I can kind of like my goal, my final goal is to like take the keys and just drive the car and get everyone on board with like what we gotta do. But it's hard. I mean, it's 10 positions that you gotta know perfectly what to do. But being in the midfield, you gotta be able to do everyone's work, like, from center back to right back to winger to striker. Um, it's not common, or it's not what we're asked for, but like that's something I would like to do so I can kind of manage everyone and just try to lead everyone in a positive way. And, ultimate goal as well as bring a trophy here, sixth
Mm-hmm.
year. Um, so yeah.
Right on.
So, kind of piggybacking off that, sorry to cut you off, E, but I
There
wanted
you
to
go.
I hear all that individually, and I'm sure that's even tougher now because of the guys who have been in and out of practice, right? Owen gets his surgery, obviously. Brandon's coming back from the knee. Mirtu had the calf. We don't know where Mikael Dessler is right now as fans. Hopefully he's on the way back soon.
He's on the
But
way.
so what are you guys focusing on as a team that differs from what the squad was emphasizing last season, right? Because that is, I can tell you now, you guys aren't blind, right? But the fans are sitting here like, we had the fewest amount of goals in the Western Conference last season, and we know you guys can put up a bigger number than that. So like, what is the squad emphasizing? What's the coaching staff emphasizing that's different here headed into the start of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think our goal is to obviously win a trophy, but before that, I know fans want to see goals. They want to see us bang fifth or five, six
For sure,
goals,
for sure.
6 goals a game, but like the reality is like the league's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Teams are getting stronger, just how we spend money, other teams spend money. There's new rules every year, like salary wise, like teams are starting to spend more money, bring more quality, more big names. So it's just um it's I know fans want to see goals, but I think the ultimate goal has to be like making it to playoffs, then winning something into playoffs. And it's baby steps, it's game by game. I know early in the year I think I can't remember, but we were the best defense for like the first month, like the
Yep.
Yeah.
first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's just like fans only see goals, and I know they want to see goals. I know they want us to win every game, but it's just the reality of the job. It's like, no, we're not gonna win every game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would be amazing, but there's very good teams out there, especially this coming years. Um, but we're working on that. Trust me. We're aware that we could score many more goals with the quality that we have at top. But there's some other things that we also got to take care of.
Well, I can only speak for us too, but like, we would love to see more goals, right? But we want to
Yeah.
see wins. I don't
Yeah.
care if
Yeah.
it's 1-0, whatever. They all
Same.
count the same, brother. So like, we're with you on that for sure.
Yeah. We're down to win ugly, win some dogfights for sure. Always
100%.
down for that. So give us the scoop on some of these new guys, right? We got Facu in here. We got Joseph Rosales, obviously Jaden Nelson. And we're not soccer scout experts, but obviously we know Jaden Nelson's super fast. We know
Yeah,
Joseph Rosales can be moved around a lot. He's got a bunch of different positions that he can play. But like, what are these guys like? How are you guys adapting, becoming friends? Like, what's going on there?
Good, man. Outside of soccer, all good guys from all the new signings. There hasn't been a single problem where we all get along very well. Right now here in Coachella, we got this villas, and it's like 7 players per villa.
Okay.
My villa is Ilya, Dubarsarski, Facundo,
Okay.
Joseph, me, Biro, and Jaden. So Jaden's the only one that doesn't speak Spanish, so he's kind of getting cooked a little bit.
Oh, okay. Shit, that would be me, bro.
I know, but he's getting there. He's learning quick as fuck. But I think this Coachella trip has been amazing for like team bonding. Like all the villas are next to each other. We've done like asado a couple times, and we invite everyone to come, whoever wants to come, and it's been amazing. I think especially this trip, in Austin, we don't really get to bond as much
Mm,
unless we do like team events and stuff. But here, like we're with each other literally 24/7, unless you take a nap. If you're awake, you're outside doing whatever, playing cards, whatever.
Hmm.
yeah.
And they're all good. Facunda, he's a fool. Joseph is another fool. He's so dumb. Uh,
What
Jaden,
about Biru, man?
huh?
What about Biru?
Oh,
He's got to be a clown, right?
yeah, he's so stupid too. We're silly, so dumb. So it's just fun. It's just fun times here. Obviously, we're here for preseason and train and stuff, but this is other important stuff that people got to see as well. The team bonding, the relationships, and it's been good. They've been
Yeah,
good.
man. That's something. I mean, we played basketball in college, and like that's something that I miss a lot. And I know that my
Hmm.
first time coming down here, we went out to like a lake house, and that's when I actually met Zach
Hmm.
for the
Okay.
first time, and I was like, damn, he's really dumb as hell too. That was the first thing I thought. But now here we are, like, I don't want to admit, maybe 10, 12 years later. It's been a while, but yeah, that
Bro,
stuff
you're
is super
shorting us
important.
on that, but okay.
Come on, come on. Ain't gonna date ourselves here too much, but that's something that I really miss about playing. Was just the camaraderie, making those relationships with,
Yeah,
the dudes and the teammates and stuff. So that's cool. I appreciate that little insight.
Yeah,
you're
man.
welcome.
Well, and talking about some of the guys you've played with in the past, this is something we were talking about the other day. You've played alongside guys like Felipe, right? Diego Rubio, who obviously like just moved on from the team this offseason. So like we were kind of talking about like who's gonna provide that bite, right? That shithousery, right? That's the term for it. Like who's providing that this season? And is it you? Because bro, I told you, right? We said at the top, third most appearances, but Dani Pereira, most yellow cards in Austin FC history too, bro.
No, I don't care. Bro. It's okay. It's okay. But no, I mean, I think it'll be this. Obviously, everyone knows Felipe for that around the
Mm,
league. Like everyone knows Diego around the league for being like always playing the game, always doing stupid fouls, just
yeah,
pissing
yeah.
people off.
That dark magic.
Yeah, it's not something I want to do because I don't want that recognition, and I'm honestly not like that. Like
Hmm.
during games, I'll talk a little shit here and then, but I don't want to do it if where I'm like known for that,
Right, right.
I think
Hmm.
this will be more of like a if the whole team can do that, to a
Sure.
certain level, um, where we can just play the game, be if they pass the ball, give them a little bump, it's just anything that it's not harmless, but it could get a reaction out of someone. It's just playing the game, being I don't know what the word is in English, but like just being like having that
Competitor.
yeah, having being competitive, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it'll be a more of a team thing than just one player like Diego
The
Felipe.
whole team takes on that kind of personality or that role, huh?
Yeah, I think that we're trying to do it because we have a lot of good guys on our team. We have a lot of chill guys.
Yeah, yeah, for
So it's
sure.
just kind of getting into being like like sorry for the word, but like a motherfucking team, like
Hey, you
being
Hmm.
fit in right
motherfuckers
here,
out
bro.
there. So it's just like, um, yeah, we'll see how we handle it later on.
All right, yeah, we'll be looking for it. Look, man, I know we've taken a lot of your time here. We got some kind of rapid fire questions here, and I'll
All
let
right,
E
good.
start because I think this kind of circles back on something we talked about earlier.
All right, good deal. Yeah. So we talked about like your most challenging kind of season moments that you had. What's been like the most rewarding or favorite moment that you've had here in Austin?
I have a lot. Um, like it's my job. Like if it wasn't for soccer, I don't think I would have like me, my mom, my dad, and my brother would have lived together again.
Mm,
Um, my brother moved out of the house like young, like 17, 18 when we were in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
And I think him or like me, if I didn't play for Austin, like I don't think we would ever live together again. So it's just one of those things for me that I really look at, and it's like, dang, like thanks to me. And my mom tells me she's like thankful. She's like, Danny, thank you. Like if it wasn't for you, like we all wouldn't have been able to all live together again.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that I'll go with that.
that's a great answer, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. Absolutely. I think, I mentioned that
I'm not trying to make you
interview.
guys crash, so it feels
Yeah.
bad.
Hey, man,
Well,
you already got us sick.
yeah. I was thinking back to the We Are Austin interview you did, and I don't know how they got that voicemail from your mom with you in college and the house y'all were trying to rent, but that was
Yeah.
hilarious, man. So again, that was like another window into the world that your family has and how tight knit you guys are, man. That's awesome.
I think it was funny, dude. That shit was funny.
Yeah.
My mom was so mad.
Yeah,
She's
man, I could
oh
hear it.
man.
I mean, I don't speak Spanish, but I could tell what was going on there. All right, so like thinking about the opponents, right? You see every team in the Western Conference twice. Sometimes we see those Eastern Conference teams. What opponent do you get up for most? Like, I know you want to say like, oh, everybody's the same, but nah, man. Like what team shows up on the schedule and you're like, man, fuck those guys.
LAFC, man, this summer,
Hell
Oh,
man.
yeah, let's
Can't
go.
yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck those guys.
They're just annoying.
man. No, we're with you on that one.
Like they're all like I just can't like nothing against them. It's just like that game you're always pumped up because you always want to beat the best and they're one of the best in the league. So um they took us out of playoff both times that we've been in
Mm-hmm.
it. So
Mm-hmm.
there has to be something in those games from now on. So
Y'all show up for them. That's for sure. That's for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Um, Toughest matchup in the league.
sure, ever.
Yeah, yeah.
God, man, I think the toughest I've had was I think it was 2024 away in Houston. I
Mm-hmm.
think we won with
That
a
was
M.
Emmy scored the winner off
Mhm.
CJ's header. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man, I
Y'all
remember
went
I
nuts.
screamed in
that
Ian's face
year,
so loud.
dude, that year Houston was nice with the ball, man. You could not. They had Hector Herrera. They had
Oh shit, he's back
oh,
now too, huh?
yeah, they're gonna be. I
Yeah.
think they'll be sweet this year. Um, that team that year, we won both games against them, but playing in them, we're like we were never gonna get the ball from them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So I'll say those two games.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so New Jersey dropped this week, and look, like you might have to say, right, the new one's my favorite, but like if we'll put that one first. What kit in the past has been your favorite Austin FC jersey?
The Armadillo, man, the Armadillo kit.
Yeah.
That one's sick.
Yeah, I love
Really
that
good.
one
Maybe the new one too. I think it'll grow. They'll all grow on me.
for sure.
Mm.
Like at first I'm like, "Ugh," and then they grow.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I gotta go get some of those discounted Dillos now that they're out of circulation, man. They
yeah,
put them on
man.
sale. That's the time to get
Look
them.
at them
So
jerseys, bro.
So you mentioned your favorite player growing up was Iniesta, and maybe that went into taking number 8 after Alex Ring departed the club. But now that he's retired, do you have a favorite player who's still currently playing, or like these your peers, these are guys you're going up against, or someone you just like really look up to?
No, I like Pedri, man. That guy's now that like players that are active now,
mm-hmm.
he's top. And like 3 years ago, I was like, oh, I don't really like him, and then now he's so good, man. So clean, just literally Iniesta. So,
Okay.
I don't know,
Oh,
some about the players that I like.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, couple more. You got 6 career goals with Austin. Most of those have been scored in crucial moments. what's your favorite one?
God, I'll say the Monterrey one. That was
The combo with Owen, bro. And then I mean,
uh,
you can tell in your celebration, you jumped. I mean, I don't know what your vertical is, man, but it's higher than mine.
that was probably the highest ever. No cap. But yeah, that one or the Charlotte one. The Charlotte was also a meaningful one.
Right.
Like my
Friends and family there, right?
my high school, college friends, coaches, family, they're all there. So, and we won the game with that goal. So,
Yeah.
those two for sure.
Yeah, bro. I think I would say for me as a fan, Road Houston, just because I fucking hate those guys. And that was your first one, right? So
yeah, that's my first one.
Well, and I will point out, you did finally score in the North End in the playoffs, but it was a PK, right? So we're looking for the live play goal this year. We're gonna try to hit you with the confetti after you score. So that's a good goal for this year, bro.
I promise I'm gonna try.
There we go. Yeah. All right, switching lanes a little bit here. As I mentioned before, we're initially basketball guys. So the classic North End questions coming your way here. Are you Jordan or a LeBron guy?
I don't keep up with basketball. Like it's
you got to answer, man.
Okay. I'll say LeBron. Like I never watched Jordan play, so I can't really. LeBron.
Oh, shit. Okay. You got to get a Jordan answer, bro. We're gonna have to get one of the older guys on here, I think, and not Brad because he's Cleveland guy.
Yeah, can't do Brad, man.
That's a weird one.
All right. Last thing here, Danny. Like we already talked about, you got your point across how big family is for you, right? Like they were there living in Roanoke while you were at UVA, right? Moved here with you after the draft. Last year, you and your mom started the Toques Foundation. So can you tell our listeners a little bit more about why you founded that initiative, what it does, and is there a way that like fans can help support the foundation?
Yeah, I mean the foundation's it's a nonprofit. It's mostly to help kids like me that might need any type of resources, either if it's scholarships or help. Like my mom's one of the teachers, you could say that, for like families that sign up for the foundation. And she helps them out with like what families don't know about, like transcripts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
transcripts, college. Like SATs tests, I don't know what the other one's called.
All that prep work, right?
Yeah, all that little stuff that most like Latino families that move to US have no clue about. Like what colleges need for you to go to school, and to know that with sports or with any other like talent that you have, you can get a scholarship wherever, like any college. So that's what it's mostly for. It's just to help people that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Latinos, just whoever needs it. And just kind of give to people that need it. That's it.
That's really admirable, man. And like I appreciate it as somebody who was born and raised in Austin, like to come here. You don't have to give back to the community, but with what you guys are doing, man, big ups to you guys and shout out to mom for helping out with that too, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. It's going good. We have a couple things coming up soon, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll put the link to the website in the description of this episode for everybody if they want to check it out. So anything else you have for us that you want to let us know about before we let you go, man?
That's all you got. That's it. I don't know.
All right, Danny. Well, we appreciate you, brother. Good luck tomorrow in the preseason finale, and of course, good luck this season. We'll see you at the Q next weekend.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks again to Dani Pereira, man. That was awesome. A blast to talk to him. And like a couple takeaways, I think, for me from that. I was pretty surprised that he said that the toughest team he's faced in MLS is 2024 Houston, which like, I get it. Cause I mean, that was a good team.
It was a good team.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was probably expecting one of the coastal elites, right? Especially like in LAFC. But I guess he did give us like, he hates LAFC, which like, so we're bonded on that.
That was great, man. Shout out to Pep. I loved him talking about his family. And like we have goofy questions mixed in to try to lighten the mood. And, it's not the highlight of his day to talk to me and you, obviously,
for sure.
So like we're trying to loosen it up a little bit and get some good answers out of him. But I thought it was pretty impressive how he could, shift from like, oh, hey, you're LeBron or a Michael Jordan guy, to talking about, how important it was for him to be with his family, living together again, and like having that connection that he had from his childhood, which seems like some pretty fond memories, and like to live out your dream like that and like bring your family along is like, that's the ultimate if you're, an athlete in any space really. So I thought that was really cool. And I thought the interview was great. And he was a lot of fun, and just super grateful that he jumped on with us.
Yeah, same here. So thanks again, Danny. Thanks to the team, right, for giving us that access to it, right? Having a player interview on the mega-sode annually is becoming a new tradition that I'm definitely a fan of here.
Yeah.
So, and we will have, right, the link to Toques is going to be in the description of this episode, audio or video version, if you want to make a donation to Danny and his mom's charity foundation there. Before we get to the Minnesota preview, E, and really drill down on this first matchup, let's run our Soccerwise interview here with our buddy David Goss, who we jumped on. This was about 2 weeks ago, I think now, maybe a little longer than that, when we had our chat with Goss over there on Soccerwise. We're going to run it here, kind of talk about the season more, the upcoming season rather, as a whole, and then we'll come back and we'll get into this first match preview for 2026.
Well, let's head down to Texas as we are into our season previews. And we've got a big one here, one that I was lucky enough to be at last year. I had fun at the All-Star game, helped us launch Kickback Media, and now we are back around with the North End podcast. Zach and E joining me. They have some exciting news as they have just launched their Patreon, which will, if you join, get you access to their Big Ball League, which you can play in. Let the people know what a champion of a Big Ball League looks like.
Well, I will say,
Best Ball League, isn't it? Best Ball.
I thought you were doing that on purpose.
No.
Look, I was about to say, if that's a bit now, I'm 100% with it. And either way, Best Ball, Big Ball, yes, appreciate the shout there, David. For those who may be listening and are, fantasy sports nerds, we play Best Ball here in the North End. Soccerwise won our league last year, but with the Patreon now, we are starting a Pro-Rel pyramid with our Best Ball League. So you can go to the northendpodcast.com. There's an article there that explains it all. We won't get into it all here today, but you want to play a really kind of low maintenance way to play MLS fantasy, we got your answer.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. Last year was my first year. You do the draft at the beginning. You don't have to do anything with your team week to week. Mm-hmm. So that's where, as you said, low maintenance, your team collects points. Then we redrafted right around the transfer windows. I think at the beginning.
We do a transfer draft there. Yeah,
so you can, don't worry, go out and get all the big superstars that teams are going to be signing, quote unquote.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that as we go through the season and we see how ready this league is to take advantage of the World Cup and whatnot. But I don't need to get into all of that right now. It was a fascinating year last year for Austin FC, and there's a couple teams that I've been working on and getting ready for the previews, and you're like, oh, this is what 25 was, like this is who they are. And Austin, I think, sits in an odd place. So I want to start here. What's the thoughts on what 2025 was, and what's the feeling of what the season was?
Well, I think for me, and I definitely am interested to hear where E may differ, because disagreeing is not really our strong suit. We're usually pretty in line. I think it was just about the ugliest way to have a successful season. We predicted that Austin would finish 5th in the West. They finished 6th. We predicted they would go farther than they ever had in the Open Cup, which was win more than one game. They made it to the final, and you don't come away from the season with any hardware. But again, I think you met the baseline expectation, and then we'll talk about 2026. But I think the trajectory is still pointing upward, and that's where we should end up by the end of this. But I know that was kind of a surface level evaluation of 2025. What else would you add there?
I mean, if you could have walked away with some hardware, it would have eliminated the pain of watching that team long. And not being able to do that in the Open Cup final in a heartbreaking fashion in front of your home fans, kind of left even a more bitter taste in a lot of fans' mouths last season. But still, if you take a step back and look at it overall, I think it was a successful year. Obviously, you get Nico in there, our second ever head coach at the helm there. And I think the team, overperformed a little bit with all the things that were surrounding this club, and then underperformed as well. And I think we'll get into that a little bit with the struggles of this team and their inability to score goals, whether it was creating those opportunities or finishing those opportunities. So it was a season with a lot of highs and a lot of lows, because there were some games that you watched this team play. I go back to the Vancouver matchup earlier in the season and just getting absolutely throttled. And sitting there just like, what are we going to do with this team this season? And, they found ways to win, and usually it was ugly.
Let's talk about the changes then a little bit, because I think we saw some of that reflected from the front office in their moves. Every episode we have Tom's off-season move, and his, of course, touches on Facundo Torres. He said, MLS proven star, very productive player in the league, full stop. Arriving in place of Usman Bukhari makes this such a net positive. Yes, there are still awkward aspects of the Austin attack, but those are more about Uzuni fitting with Vazquez and the others. They can worry about that when Vazquez gets back. Austin is better for signing Facundo Torres. He is in the beginning of his prime, and that's good to me. We'll have Weeby's line coming up in a little, which we'll touch on Uzuni and Vazquez, but start us with what have you made of Facundo Torres being brought in, and the work this front office is focused on doing in this offseason?
I think this is the most talented team on paper that we've ever had down here, top to bottom. And I know that the BV and Uzuni fit is not perfect, but I think if you raise the talent floor around those guys, it can overshadow and cover up some of the holes that they do have, because they're not complementary players. And I'm saying that when I refer to BV and Uzuni. I go back to what we usually do on our episodes is, go back to our roots, which is in basketball. And I compare BV and Uzuni, that fit looking similar to what the 2021 Chicago Bulls had going on with DeRozan and LaVine.
Deep cut here. Deep cut.
Well, I also thought we were going to go with maybe a successful team.
They were the number one, number two team in the East to start that season for a long period of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was because of Lonzo Ball, who kind of made opportunities for those guys, raised the floor of that team. And I think some of the criticism that came with the Facu signing is on point, because we do need somebody to improve those two players in Uzuni and BV. So hopefully he's able to do that. And when Lonzo went down with this, I don't know how well this comparison is going to hit with these fans listening to Soccerwise here, that team kind of fell apart. So I'm looking at this team right now, most talented team on paper that we've ever had, and we got to make it work. And that's why I think this is a really make or break season for Nico and his staff this season, because this club has more talent than we've ever seen down here in the 512.
I'm not going to make a Josh Giddey joke. I'm just going to keep moving on from there. But I understand, and I think Tom's point is like you're saying, talent is talent, right? And you'd rather have more talent than less, even if there's questions how it fits through. Outside of Facundo, actually, let's talk about Facundo Torres a little more. Like, you talk about this being the best team. I find it funny that him and Brandon Vazquez are both returning MLSers who had like no connection to Austin in any way. They weren't teams that are rivals. I don't even know if he's played in Austin, like with the way the season has set up. So what was sort of the buzz and reaction as Facu was announced?
I think there was a lot of excitement across the fan base because we recognize the talent of this player. We do remember him. He did play at Q2 in 2022, that wild 2-2 draw where Orlando's down to 9 men by the end and Austin cannot break through for the full 3 points. So obviously we were frustrated then, but Facu was a part of that. We obviously followed him 23, played again in 24, and we were pretty toothless down there. I think Facu actually might have missed that game, but overall, man, I think Tom's and I think his take was the most rational and level-headed, the one that I most connect with, because I don't think it's a hot take to say adding good players to your team is a good thing.
Yeah, right.
And if there is this, chance-creating 10 out there that's going to tie everything together, then I would love the analysis from the people who immediately looked at the FB Ref RIP breakdown, right? Just the statistical box score for the player and said, oh, this isn't going to work. This is not what I would do. Okay. Give me some names of guys that were available, that would fit in here in Austin and in your mind, elevate them. And I think, like, especially when it comes to the expected assist argument, right? Because that almost became a meme as that signing was taking place. But, like, first of all, we've got a kid named Owen Wolff here who is top 4 in the U22 list and was 25th in the league in total expected assists last season. He was also on a 26 goal contribution pace over his last 17 games in all comps. So you're including those external competitions, but those weren't exactly the dregs, right? We're talking about semifinal and final of the Open Cup and 2 games against LAFC. So if that is anywhere near a reality, Owen Wolff is somebody that I don't think the national media is really factoring into their expectations for Austin. Now, the development, of course, is not linear. I don't think we should expect the exact same jump that we saw in Owen Wolff's game last year. But even if it's 30-40% of what we saw, I think double-digit assists is a fair expectation for a kid who had 8 last year in MLS play alone. And if we're talking about expected assists for our wingers, man, Jaden Nelson was 88th percentile in expected assists last season. So there was no ASA or backheeled or Doyle poo-pooing of the Nelson signing at the time for the expected assists. So I think for some Austin fans, the reaction from what we call on the show the national nerd parliament, which, like, we are super nerds ourselves, but like it felt a little targeted because, like, and I'm not saying Austin is on the level or is going to be on the level of these teams this year. But where's the chance creating 10 for LAFC? Where's the chance creating 10 for Philadelphia Union, who won the Shield last year? Quinn Sullivan? I don't know, man. Again, like, those teams are very good, but I don't think you need this messy level guy sitting in the middle of the field to find success in this league. So I think with the moves they've made, and if we have the time here, David, I would love to take a look at the inbound, outbound moves here. I think they have a chance at top 4. Like, I think 5th or 6th is right around where I have them once again, but I think the ceiling is elevated this season.
I love this. One, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think the Jane Nelson stuff is underrated. We were putting out our over-under episode. When we got to Austin, I was rattling off Owen Wolff, big chances created. Fully agreed there. But I will take the national nerd space a little bit here and say, the Facundo Torres reaction, I think, was a couple things. And this is for, I think, Austin fans maybe a little understanding. One was, it felt like Orlando got a deal when they got off him because it felt like they had reached their ceiling with him. So I think some of the reaction is people still a year and a half behind, remembering what they thought of Facundo Torres as he finished, which was an underwhelming just last finish to his season, and then Orlando getting this huge number, which felt disproportionate. And so the reaction when he left the league was, oh, wow, they got a steal. So now when he comes back in, the positivity about who he is isn't there as much. And the second was, he was at his best in Orlando as a goal scorer. And Uzuni and Brandon Vazquez, we haven't seen as much together. But there's an example where it doesn't work, where there's no example of Denny Bouanga and Son not working together. So they don't need the 10 because they've proven they don't need it, where Austin hasn't proven that. And so if we had done this show 2 months ago, I think we all would have sat there and said, the solution, if you can get off Ousmane Boukari, is to replace him with a different type of player. And they did, but not the type we all would have picked, right? And so that was the part where when it hit, it was confusing. And then the last piece is, and this is a part I don't care about, it's not my money. But it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think there's no question that Austin FC is better with Facundo Torres than without him.
Yeah.
The question is, could there have been other options at that price point that make them even better than they might be with Facundo Torres? But the part that I'm open to is he's 25. He's going to keep getting better. So he might be a more complete player right now after playing at Palmeiras for a year. He might be more prepared to pull the strings and create for other people and see the game at a higher level. I think that's fair to expect. I think that's fair to hope for. And I don't think fans should be upset about it in any way. But I don't know that the front office has endeared themselves to the benefit of the doubt that, oh, they'll see how it fits together a way we don't because of what we just lived through last year with the big additions they made.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fair. And I think, E and I have talked about where I think it's if you want to say that the chance creation is still a concern until we see it, We fully agree with you. It just, again, I think it's what bar are we holding Austin FC to? If it's MLS Cup contenders, which I think you should with the way they've been spending their money the last 18 months to 2 years, then I would also agree that they are not MLS Cup contenders, at least until we see these guys kick a ball and with everybody involved, because the front line is very beat up right now with Owen Wolff sitting out, Vazquez, of course, still recovering from the ACL. But, like, if we're talking about, like, mid-table teams, they got better this offseason, and they were already a team that they had nothing to play for on decision day, locked into the 6th seed in a season where we think they underperformed. So again, I think the ceiling is a little bit higher than the overall evaluation of Austin is. But if we're talking cup contention, then I think they are at least a tier below those teams that, the familiar ones that everybody would put at that level.
Weeby's over underline, I think we'll sort of set the conversation here of what we think will happen, which is he said 1.5 double-digit goal scorers on this team, over and under. None last year in this roster. Facundo Torres comes in. Uzuni settled for a year. Like, you can add other names if you'd like to, but to me, when he sent this to me, I read, do we think these guys will hit? Do we think it'll work? So, E, I'll start with you. Over under on that 1.5 line of double-digit goal scorers. Let's say MLS, not all comps, but that doesn't really matter because it's not like there's 15 other competitions out there for the season.
Okay, well, this will be coming with some heavy bias for sure, as I just mentioned. I thought this was the most talented team we've ever had here, so I will take the over there. If you look at BV last year, and I know he's not going to be all the way healthy once the season starts, the amount of chances that he squandered last season, and a lot of it was just the ball not bouncing the right way, hitting the crossbar on plenty of headers that we've seen him just net time and time again. I think he will regress to the mean. Will he have enough games to get to that double-digit mark? I do think so, because I do think, again, this team is going to be improved, and I will take Torres going over double-digit goals as well. So it's an over for me.
Zach?
Yeah, I think it's a very close over for me, for not just the reasons that E mentioned, but also because I think there is now even more mouths to feed offensively here with the two DP strikers, Wolff, and the two wingers out there in Nelson and Facu Torres. And just to expand on what E was talking about there with Vazquez and the lack of finishing last year, man, like, you got to remember that this guy played just 19 league games last year because of the ACL injury in July. He finished at that alarmingly terrible rate and still ended the season as the second worst goals minus expected goals in the league, only behind Simon Betcher. So, like, the chances for him were there. How many of those April and May results go from no points to 1 point or 1 point to 3 points if he just finishes to the level of expectation? Like, he was 33rd in the league, the entire season in XG. Like, that's how dangerous he was in front of goal for Austin last year. And, like, dude, that his expected goals number in the season was the second most for any individual player in club history, which, again, may say more about just, like, the terrible history of Austin FC. But only Seba Driussi's 2022 had more XG than BV did last year, and it was in half a season. So, like, and he didn't have a preseason with Uzuni last year. He won't have one this year either. But, like, these guys, again, I think I've been on team get rid of Uzuni if you can, but, like, as long as he's here, I'm gonna back him and cheer for him to figure this stuff out, because we saw him at the La Liga level, double-digit goals, La Liga 2 Golden Boot winner. Like, this guy is more talented than what he put out there on the field this year, and his biggest challenge, in my opinion, getting over the mental hurdle of missing those two giant penalty kicks late in the season.
Yeah, it was a tough finish to a tough season for Uzuni. A ton of expectations. Let's talk about that in the fan base. Zach, let's start with you. What's the conversation around the fan base about this team, and what are the expectations for what people want to see in 2026?
I think your average, the Austin fans that are, in tune here in January, right? I think league-wide, that's usually the diehards and the sickos, right? I think you have to see some sort of improvement in not just the goal scoring, but the points in the table, right? You don't necessarily have to be top 4, but, like, you need to be a little bit further above that wild card line than Austin has been, right? Hovering either slightly above or slightly below the last 3 seasons. it's going to be very tough, especially adding a competition for this team, I think, to bring home, certainly not considering these guys Supporter Shield contenders or MLS Cup contenders at this point of the year. Can they get back to an Open Cup final? Yes, but we know how tough it is. Last year, there's so much, no matter what team and how long your run is, there's always some luck involved in a run to a title game or to a championship. And, is this team going to go and win Leagues Cup? Probably not. So, for me as a fan, number one, you got to beat the Texas teams, which they had 0 wins against last year. And when you, that is the ultimate baseline for any Austin fan here is, let's beat our rivals. So, I want to start there and then worry about those cups later in the season. But I don't see why this team can't, as they have built out some more depth, especially, hey, anybody needs a left back, you can come inquire within, man, the number that we have here. But yeah, I think baseline is slight improvements in the table, noticeable improvements in the threat going forward, and converting the limited chances you're probably going to have, because it's a Nico Estevez coach team, and he's never been a high-flying offensive guy.
Yeah, that gives me a little worry, right? Because I think one of the main things for the fan base is to watch an more exciting brand of soccer. We have not been an exciting team or fun team to watch since 2022, and that season in itself was just kind of a fever dream because we had no injuries all season. We were winning all kinds of clutch games. Seba was absolutely out of his mind. You got probably the best version of Diego Fagundes ever. That's that lone season. So, and you look at around the league, right, with some of these other expansion teams that have come in after Austin. You've seen the level of success that they've had. And when this team got here, Austin, that is, it really captured the city. This was the only professional sports team here, and I know UT football is a religion in itself, but really captured the city, and then we have to capitalize on that. And I am not delusional enough, even though I am quite delusional, to believe that Austin can compete with your Miamis and that echelon of club where it's we're going to be able to compete for an MLS Cup. But I do think falling into the top 4 in the Western Conference, if things don't go exactly right for some of those teams that I have clearly above us, LAFC, Vancouver, Seattle, because of the pedigree and that level of talent as well, and I'm missing one right now. But if things don't go exactly right for them, they have some injuries as well, you can sneak into that conversation. And, Leagues Cup, I'm right there with Zach. I do not think that this team can win that. And then making a run back to a U.S. Open Cup final, I think, is your best chance of winning hardware. So I think you have to prioritize that competition. And I think with this fan base, if you could get anything in the trophy cabinet, they will be thrilled. And a lot of the things that we have suffered through with being fans of this team will kind of be more so in the past than they are right now. So I think any chance to get a trophy is coming in the U.S. Open Cup, and you got to find a way to get that done. And I think that will be huge for the morale of the fan base of this team.
Big season to come. I could do this for 2 hours. A lot to talk about with this team. A lot of question marks, but a lot of excitement as well. As I think you put it, it's the most talented team they've had. What does that mean? And what's the luck there and the no luck and all of that? We will see. But had a great time chatting with Brandon Vazquez at Media Marketing. He seems ready to go, and always fun talking with you guys. And next time we could break down the Knicks and figure out if there's any way for this thing to win together. And we could just do that on its own.
David, you beat us in best ball. Then you and we signed John Bell in December, and you guys are bing-bonging on me, the Spurs fan, in December. So look, the year 2026 is going to be the year of the North End. Best ball, maybe the Spurs somehow, just like Austin FC, you get a bunch of luck from other teams' injuries, and the Spurs go win a title
too. The NBA Cup is not even Copa de Tejas. It is. It's a 14th level competition. It is the Emirates Cup. Hung the banner, dude. It's the Emirates Cup, literally. So maybe they probably will hang the banner after it all falls apart later this year. But follow the North End podcast. If you feel like you have big ones like me, then you could go and join the best ball and get involved. I had a blast with it. I'm looking forward to the draft again for this year. I'm looking forward to, showing my skills once again. But thank you to both of you for joining me, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Well, thanks once again to our buddy David Goss. Obviously, you will see him on Tuesday for the best ball draft. But always fun to chop it up with David, and really enjoying kind of that connection we're building with Soccerwise here in the North End. So there's thanks again to Goss.
Yeah, man, the big ball champion.
Yeah, yeah, dude, I lost it. I
was dying.
Yeah, I
was dying.
We might have to just change the name, to be honest.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, let's get into the first match preview of 2026 here, E. Of course, with the season coming back, that means the articles start firing at the northendpodcast.com. So, right, just a reminder or new information if you found the North End over the offseason. Once we get into the season, we go 2 times a week here. We will have recap episodes on Sunday. Then we will come back on Wednesday in the midweek and preview the upcoming match. So this article will be posted to the site in the midweek. But we want to talk about some of our early notes here, 6 days out from the season opener. So all time against the Loons here. Austin's one of what I imagine is the few teams in the Western Conference that we have a all-time winning record against. 6 wins, 1 draw, and 5 losses. Look, that is including the Open Cup semifinal victory last year. So that's what put us over that 500 mark. And that 1 draw also came last year. But I also think back to this not being the first time we've seen the Loons in a season opener, because 2024 was a disaster because of the expectations we had for our guys, even in a rebuilding year, and what they were coming in with. Interim head coach, that Reynoso saga was still going on.
Yep.
And they kicked our ass. I think it was 2-1 at the end of the day, but the scoreline was not indicative of how close that match was. And then, last year, they set the biggest ass whooping we've ever had at home.
Yep.
The 3-0 loss, which started, I think the first goal was Stuver letting that ball run through his legs there in the North End. Team did bounce back 3 weeks later. That 1-1 draw, the only draw in the historical head-to-head series here. That was when Sean Colemanich got his first Austin FC goal on that beautiful counterattack. That was great, getting that point in the shit month of May. Like that was a big draw. And then, of course, the historic win in the Open Cup semifinal, capped off by CJ's heroics there in the 120th minute. And if you look back all time at Q2 between these two teams, for Austin, 2 wins and 3 losses. We haven't beaten the Loons at home here, since May of 2023. So it's about time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you talked about those games that, particularly stick out. Obviously, that first matchup in 2024 is part of the reason why I'm a little bit concerned about my levels of concern are super, high going into this game, because I remember that matchup and remember sitting through that and just being like, oh my God, we are not ready to play, know? And I don't know what our record was in that preseason, but
it was bad, dude.
Yeah. It did not look like a team that was firing on all cylinders by any stretch of the imagination. So that plays into my concern here, but I like this matchup. Obviously, last year getting the Open Cup win, that historic victory versus this team adds to the joy that I have when these two teams match up. But we're usually battling with this team. We're in the same range more often than not, I feel like. So this is a fun matchup for sure. And getting to see James Rodriguez, as much as we kind of poo-pooed the idea of him coming to Austin, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you mentioned kind of usually in that same range with the Loons, because they did finish 4th in the West last year, but they were on 58 points, so a full 11 above Austin, even though we were just 2 spots apart in the standings. They had 56 goals for and 39 against. Got their first ever points at Seattle and their first ever win in Sandy, Utah against Real Salt Lake last year. But dude, last year's style, and I know that the sickos remember it well, 3 bullet points: defense, counterattacks, set pieces. It's a very gritty team last season. Last in the league in possession, and it wasn't close. 38.9% on average. But sitting back on defense, tied for the second fewest goals conceded per match. And like I mentioned, 56 goals for, only having the ball basically 39% of the time. This was still a team that could score with the best of them in 2025. They were led in scoring and goal contributions by Tani Oluwaseyi, and he was sold on in that summer window, right? So he only played about 2/3 of the season. Both Anthony Markanic and Kelvin Yeboah were on his heels goal-wise, but it's Joaquin Pereira, their other DP alongside Yeboah, who should be expected to lead them in contributions here. Again, look, you look at Kelvin Yeboah, underperformed his XG last year by slightly more than 4 goals. So he left plenty on the table, and we know that well from him being on our best ball roster last year. I also think things could open up for him a bit with Tani out of the picture this year and kind of being that guy up top solo. But this is not only a different team, right? Since that, right, we'd mentioned Reynoso and Eric Ramsey coming in as a coach. Not only different from that opener in 24, but drastically different from last season. Key player departures. You've got the goalkeeper of the year, Dane St. Clair, leaving in free agency for reportedly a cheaper deal than what Minnesota offered him because he felt lowballed, and he was not the only player that apparently felt that way in the Loons organization over the last couple years. So he goes on a discount down to Inter Miami, does the Kevin Durant there, if you will. But they also lost Robin Lod, Hassani Dotson, of course, Joseph Rosales traded to Austin, and the vaunted Kip Keller also departed Minnesota last year. And maybe the biggest departure of them all was head coach Eric Ramsey. Now I think West Brom, and I don't think having great success there to start, but he's replaced by Cameron Knowles, who was their former second team coach. He was the interim head coach in 24 before Ramsey arrived in the States. So now Coach Knowles, the head coach there. Of course, we know Josh Wolf, one of his assistants, so we'll see him at the Q on Saturday. But the big standout signing, of course, like you mentioned, James Rodriguez. He's here on a half-year guaranteed deal. I believe it is a club option for the second half of the season. James did not play in the preseason E. I think he's questionable at best for Saturday.
I like that.
And if he plays, likely off the bench, right? Because he's no spring chicken anymore, and we know that we don't need FB Ref to tell us that James Rodriguez doesn't play a ton of defense, especially at this stage in his career. So maybe it's better for us if he's playing a little bit. I'm not sure. They also acquired winger Tomas Chancalay. Only cost him $100K cash for player trade. He was a DP previously for the New England Revolution. So this is an interesting addition to me because he had ACL surgery in May 2024. Chancalay hasn't had a full season since 2023. Right? He get hurt in the middle of 24, was not ready to start last season. 17 goals, 3 assists across his 58 appearances for New England. From what I can tell, he's not on a DP deal here on his new contract with Minnesota. So if he's right now a year removed from recovering from that ACL, he could be a big piece for them offensively. Also traded for midfielder Peter Stroud from Red Bulls. That is Jared's brother. And that cost him $475K in GAM. They also signed a little switcheroo there with Inter Miami in net. By way of Charlotte, Drake Callender comes to Minnesota to replace Dane St. Clair as their starter. And I think they could certainly do worse. I know Callender has not played a ton over the last 2 years, been injured. Obviously, maybe didn't fit in with the Messi Mafia down there so much in Miami. So you'll see him between the posts. Also signed 21-year-old winger Mauricio Gonzalez. I think he was expected to be a U22 signing, but I couldn't find confirmation of that from the club. So adding multiple wingers here, right? Replacing guys like Lod, Tani up top, right? Who are not direct wingers, but just more offensive players on this depth chart. They were at the Coachella Valley Invitational. They beat Sporting KC 3-0 last weekend. They drew DC United 0-0 in the middle of the week. And then they lost to Charlotte on Saturday 2-1. So, not firing on all cylinders there on the scoreboard, but we've watched plenty of preseason now to know they're probably not running out their full group either. Here's who they ran out on Saturday in their preseason finale. I think it's fair to assume that if we are running out a dress rehearsal on Saturday, that they were doing something similar. And looking at the names on this lineup, 2 things come to mind. I think, yes, dress rehearsal. And I think, man, that is a better best 11 than I really had in my mind that the Loons could run out at this point.
Yes, this is a much more talented team than I thought that they were going to be able to push out for week one. We know Markanich. I think that his kind of emergence, didn't push Rosales out, but it made him a bit more expendable
Yeah.
to get rid of. Getting Drake Callender to replace Dane St. Clair is a downgrade, but Drake Callender, it has experience in MLS. He's a fine keeper. We know Julian Gressel. I think the Chancellor get is a sneaky kind of get. As you mentioned, a DP level player that they were able to get quite cheap. And I think that's a sneaky get because if he's healthy, he adds to it. Joaquin Pereira is a great player. He's very, very talented. Watching him 3 times last year, seeing what he's able to do on the ball, the way that he makes people around him better, and then his very dangerous left foot, as you mentioned, with the set pieces, really deploying him last year to be a threat in that regard. Kelvin Yeboah, fast player, really good positionally, and bigger than you think he is. We didn't bring up Nectarius getting signed over there as well, but
there you go.
He's a solid player. The main thing for me is how is this team going to look, right? Because they had one of, if not the most distinct style last season in the way that they played. They did not want to have the ball, but when they did, they were pushing it up the field. They're changing the field. They're getting guys in the space, and everything was being pushed forward. So I don't know if they're going to be that extreme, but I do think that there's going to be some principles left over from Ramsey. Obviously, Knowles, we talked about being there before Ramsey was actually officially brought in. So he's familiar with this team. I'm interested to see how they play. I don't think it's going to be as extreme, but I do think you're going to have to respect this team on the counter. And if we're struggling offensively and you're pushing dudes forward to try to find that goal, this is a team that can definitely make you pay for that with the speed that they have up and down this lineup.
And you brought up Kelvin Yeboah there, man. Like thinking back to the Open Cup semifinal, I think we were very lucky that he pulled his hamstring early on in that match because we know how talented that guy is. I do think notable, right? I mentioned Hamas didn't play, not even on the roster on Saturday. Also, no Chancellor and no Mauricio Gonzalez. So all those new additions really up top were not available on Saturday. So I would consider all of those guys questionable coming up. Again, not being in the loop with what their injury report has looked like throughout their training camp. Anything else for you on the Minnesota side of things? Because again, I think this is one of the few teams we could have drawn that have so many question marks about how they're going to look and who's going to be available.
Yeah, again, just concerned. And you're going to have to come out early and kind of set the tone in this matchup for me to feel good about this and really be on your toes for that counterattack because I do think it's coming. You got guys like, you got Bongi Longwane flying up the sides and everything. Like he's got elite level speed in this league. So I'm, and then I'm not expecting James either, but like when you add him into the mix, man, and then he's the dude delivering the balls to Yeboah and Bongi and Pereira, like this team has the potential to be right there, right there in the conversation for that top 4, top 5 again, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I'm with you as well. And we'll just have to see right over the first couple of months how they're acclimating to all the changes. So unless you have anything else on the Loons, man, we can talk about us here. Not expecting Wolf or Dessler, like we mentioned, of course, BV out until at least April. And we already mentioned multiple times that we think that starting group we saw on Saturday against Sporting KC is what we see on the lineup card on Saturday for the opener. So as for me, dude, like I want to see more of what we saw in that first 45 minutes against Sporting KC, of course, as a fan. Right, like I want to see more aggression going forward offensively. We want to see the goals hitting the back of the net. But just like, I'm just looking for the willingness to play those line-breaking passes, to play those changing balls at a higher rate than we did last year. Which, again, the bar's not high, I think, to work some more of that into the mix here. And maybe that comes on, if it's going to come, which, again, is not guaranteed with Nico at the helm. But if that does come, maybe it progresses throughout the season as we continue to get healthier. As you get Vazquez back as that target man, we know how much more Austin was targeting him with the long throws, the goal kicks, all of that stuff last season, middle of the pitch, set pieces, right, as that huge target in the middle of the park. We also saw a couple times, man, like the guys, wingers, getting to the end lines and playing those balls cut back into the dangerous areas where Mirtu Izuni, a lot of his goals in Spain were late arriving, right? Those Driussi-esque goals, like floating into those open spaces, using those soccer instincts to know where the ball's going to be, maybe 1-2 passes from now. I thought we saw some good buildup towards balls like that. We know Facu Torres, also a guy that can, like, plenty of those goals on his Orlando highlights, late arriving or coming off of those crosses, coming from the inline. So I just want to see more of that when we have the ball. And, of course, keep that defensive level high, which I think we will see because there has not been a ton of turnover in the back half of the lineup.
Yeah. We've seen Bradley Scott Stuver look like he's the most prepared, ready to go to start this season, right? And, like it or not, he's been the guy that, like, kind of starts and stops this team. Like, if he has a bad game, we saw it happen last year. If he plays poorly, we're unable to overcome it. He has the first game, the first matchup with Minnesota, ball squeaks through his legs, the game's over because we couldn't score. You know what I mean? So, like, as potentially boring as that sounds, with the expectation on the offense this season, the additions of Rosales and Nelson and Facu getting younger, I think overall, even though Buka was probably the fastest player of this entire group, I think overall our speed has improved across the board. It still kind of comes back to Bradley Scott for me. Like, and like you talked about something you're worried about, right? Like with the question from Ari's, where it was just like, can this offense get to a level where, like, you can even overcome a defensive regression? And we went through a defensive regression last year because we talked about it even with Dani in the interview. The first month, they were the number one defense in the league. They were right there. And to me, it still comes back to Stuver because he covered up a lot of mistakes last year, as he has done his entire career here in Austin. So I know that he looks good. And like I've talked about my concern, I feel confident with Bradley in the net there. And then I want to see what the chemistry is like between Nelson and Mirtu and Facu. We know that Mirtu didn't really develop a really strong connection with one particular player last year, as we talked about him begging for balls, to beeline breaking balls, to get the ball at his foot, to turn around and try to put something on net quick. Has he developed that? Has he had the time with Facu thus far? Particularly if Facu is going to be occupying that kind of attacking mid space, for these two guys to be synced up. So I'm going to be looking at that. And I think my X factor is going to be Jaden Nelson in this matchup here. We've been looking for some improved wing play. We're both projecting him to start on that left wing, which was a hole for this team last season. If Jaden Nelson can provide what he had, and like of the players this preseason that, we've been harsh on plenty of players, Jaden Nelson's looked good in his time. Yeah, for sure. Every single time I've seen him out there, I've been like, he looks good. He looks ready to go. Obviously, he was getting time with Canada. So that's going to be my X factor for the offensive side of the ball, is how Jaden looks.
Unless you have anything else to add here, man. First time in 2026. How much is Austin FC winning by on Saturday?
I'm going the classic, 1-0. I think the questions surrounding Minnesota talked about their talent, and the fact that I'm going to respect this team once they get fully ramped up, as well as like we need to get fully ramped up. I think the questions surrounding them and how they're going to play, what that's going to look like, is going to hurt them. And like I said, if Bradley Scott's on his game, man, it's going to have to come up big, but I'll go 1-0.
Well, I'm still riding the hopium huff that I did before we started. So give me a 2-1 Austin victory, starting off with multiple goals. And look, as always, boys, we don't care how you get it done. Just bring us back to 3 points on opening night.
Come on down to Garber Field where the champions play. Get ready for the game. It's Lost Business Day.
Last business day here on episode 284 of the North End podcast. And I think we ended last business day last Sunday saying, I think this team is done. Not so. Austin FC2 has signed defender Neo Che to a 3-year guaranteed deal through the end of the 2028 season. So no options on this deal, slightly different from the deals we saw handed out last week to the draft picks into I forget. The other defender. We can pull up. We have the technology. We've got the roster updated.
Matt something, right? Evan.
Nope.
Evan Watt.
There you go. So I could not find if Neo who's immediately thrown his hat into the ring for coolest name in the RNFC system. This is Justin Che's younger brother, right? The Che's both came up through the Dallas Academy. I believe Justin now after some stints overseas now with the New York Red Bulls. But Neo Che coming, I think he also had a stint over the last few months or a year overseas, but he's coming back stateside here and signing with Austin. I can't find confirmation of what his position is by trade on that back line. He was just announced by the club as a defender, but 19 years old, 3-year guaranteed contract, no options for Neo. So welcome to the club, man. You have arrived at the correct Texas team.
Absolutely. And I think a little reason to get excited about here. We know the pedigree. His older brother, obviously a talented player. That Dallas Academy, one of the best in the league. So excited and welcome Neo for sure.
Yeah, and if he's been with that Dallas Academy, man, like he's no stranger to Palmer Field. Because how many, it's like twice a year, I feel like the Dallas Academy's down here taking on our boys out there at the pitch. So there's your last business day. Again, those guys finishing up their preseason as well this month. And we'll get underway with those games in early March.
And if we could have essentially a boy factory.
The Boy Factory, hard work in the first team quality. Today's academy, can't you see? Tomorrow's Austin FC.
Nobody clip Boy Factory and use that.
If we could have essentially a boy factory.
I was watching your face backstage through that whole thing. You immediately put your head in your hands.
Yeah.
Can't believe we have this drought now. But hey, a hell of a weekend.
Yeah.
For the Academy. This is last weekend's results. So you had taken on Nashville SC here at home. The U15s, a shutout victory, 1-0 over the Nashville U15s. It was Juan Monreal providing the only goal there in the 55th minute. The U16s delivered a huge victory. Oh, and I will say U15s, awesome job bouncing back from, 6-0 the previous weekend. So, I mean, that's how you respond, man. U16s, 5-2 victory over Nashville. Their U16s, rather. It was Roberto Menares. I believe he opened the scoring last weekend as well against Houston. He scored in the 20th, added a brace in the 70th minute. Eric Feliciano, also a brace, 5 minutes apart, 30 and 35th minute. And then it was Luka Tovar capping the performance with his goal in the 80th minute. U16's 5-2 win over Nashville. U16s had 2 games last weekend as well. They had this as random game, at least to, I think it's called the Flex League. So it's not random to them, but certainly to us to see this pop up in the Flex League action. 1-0 victory over FC Dallas, and it was Eric Feliciano continuing his awesome weekend. Lone goal in the 20th minute to secure all 3 points. And then the U18s battled the Nashville U18s to a 1-1 draw. It was Jacob Peel, 48th minute, getting the one Austin goal. So look, man, you get 3 wins and a draw on the weekend. We will take that every time.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, way to bounce back as well for the U15s there.
Absolutely. All right, man. It's that time. I don't know how we're like probably 2 hours in at this point, maybe a little longer than that. But this is the 2026 season-long nonsense. Of course, the regularly scheduled nonsense will commence next week. Those picks, right? The picks are back, If you want to get involved with the jelly beans there, that'll be, of course, posted by Saturday morning of match day 1 at the northendpodcast.com. First, let's talk best ball here. So for those sickos who enjoy the Verde Best Ball League draft, right, that is with us, Moon Tower, We Are Austin, Verde All Day, the Verde Pendant, and Soccerwise. We've got the same 6 teams here this season. That draft will be live streamed on our YouTube channel Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central. You see Soccerwise defending their title, right? Coming up, grabbing that cup at the end of 2025. We are still looking for our first trophy here, in the North End. I think it's going to be this year. We'll see. The draft lottery has already happened, but we'll keep that under wraps until the live stream. And look, dude, in a matter of hours, literally less than an hour from when we're talking now, so we need to hurry this up, I think. But Patreon leagues begin drafting here tonight. Neither of us are in tonight's league, but I'm in the Monday league. I got 7th pick out of 8, so I was not happy about that. You, in the Wednesday league, 1st pick. So if it wasn't me doing the Wheel of Destiny, I would have called rigged. But we'll recap all those drafts in the nonsense portion on next Sunday's episode. We'll have our full season predictions posted to the site as well by Saturday morning, which, like, look, if you're in the prediction game, the North End is one of the best spots to be, man, because I like to stand on business here, and I'm going to pat myself on the back twice when I can. If you look at the entirety of the MLSsoccer.com group of pundits, none of them were more accurate with their Western Conference predictions compared to the North End. And if you open that up, to the full league, we ended up being 2nd, just 2 spots behind Matt Doyle. Look, we'll let Doyle have his East Coast, right? We own the West out here. So not bad there. Just had to put, be a little braggadocious here, because I'm also going to be braggadocious as we get into our head-to-head competitions here, We do this every year, the team points draft, the over-under competition. So we are going to start with the team points draft here, in 2026. We'll bring this up on the screen. Very, very simple. Both and I will draft 10 teams each, and we will total the points as the season goes along. And once the regular season is over, whichever one of us has drafted the most points from the MLS regular season will be the victor. And the record show, that has been me all 3 times so far that we've done this. So you're looking to get on the board here this year.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. That's for sure.
Okay. All right. I will cede first pick to you, sir.
I didn't want you to do that, though.
Okay. Well, I'll take it then. Give me Miami.
I want the back-to-back.
Okay. I got Miami.
All right. You going Miami there. All right. I'm going LAFC.
Okay.
And I'm going Vancouver.
I think that's a very solid kind of high floor pick there with Vancouver. I'm going to do the same high floor pick with Seattle. And then I'm going to curse them. Give me San Diego.
Wow. I thought for sure I was going to have to take them. I didn't want to take them this year.
Yeah, well, I'm putting the curse on them. Now they're going to be bad.
Okay.
Now that I've bought in just a little bit.
There we go. I will go. I'll go FC Cincinnati here.
Okay.
And then I will also go.
I think that's how you spell Cincinnati. I'm always embarrassing myself when I'm writing things live on the screen.
Cincinnati's always a tough one. That's for sure. I think I'll go Nashville.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just ready to get to my next picky because I didn't think these guys were going to last. I'll take the Supporter Shield winners from last year. I'll take the Union. Okay. Poo-poo in the Union here this year. And then I will stay in the East.
Okay.
And I will take the Power of Citigroup and NYCFC.
All right. I think that's a solid pick. All right. I think I'm going Galaxy here.
Nice, yeah.
I'm going Galaxy and Chicago.
Great pick.
Okay.
I mean, imagine like we'd be taking Galaxy top 4 probably if Ricky was healthy.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about them, and obviously I fucking hate that team so much. But
yeah,
Glesh Nash is big. Glesh Nash.
Okay. I think I know exactly where I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna take another. This will be my 4th team from the East. I'll take the Crew, and then I will say screw the Crew and take Austin FC.
There we go. Very nice.
7th round, maybe the latest they've lasted, I think, in one of these.
Look, they burned me bad last year. I was injured bad.
Injured bad.
But I'm going Atlanta. I think.
Okay, yeah, sleeper.
They got a lot over there. So I'm thinking Atlanta there. Man, I kind of want to fucking take the orange team, but I just don't. I'll take Minnesota. Give me Minnesota there.
Yeah, damn. That was gonna be. I was hoping you're gonna take the orange team and just sully yourself like that, so I could take the Loons. Man, it feels like the rest of the teams in the West are kind of a toss-up. But I don't want to be too Eastern Conference heavy here. But I don't think in the 8th round I can pass up Orlando City. So I will grab. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. I'll take Houston.
Okay. I can't be too mad at that.
Your last 2 picks here.
Okay. I'll go Portland.
Okay. Timbers off.
Don't know if I'm crazy about it, but I'm trusting pedigree here. I'm trusting.
I was between them and Houston with my last one.
And then give me Red Bulls. Give me Red Bulls.
Bastard.
Yeah,
that was going to be my final pick. I was trying to corner the market on New York teams there. All right, so I'm 5 East, 4 West. I could go 6-4 here. Oh yeah, easy. Charlotte. Give me Sir Minty on the team. All right, there you go. Team points draft 2026. My team: Inter Miami, Seattle Sounders, San Diego, Philly Union, NYCFC, Columbus Crew, Austin FC, Orlando City, the Orange Team, and Charlotte. East 10 teams: LAFC, the Whitecaps, FC Cincinnati, Nashville, the Galaxy, Chicago Fire, Atlanta United, Minnesota United, the Timbers, and the Red Bull. So best of luck to you, sir.
And to you, sir.
All right. Now here's where it gets serious. And I think in the past, I want to say like at least sometimes we've shared these lines with each other before we do it live on the show. We did not do that here today. So I'm very interested to see your lines. And the records show that just by a hair last year, I took the 2-1 lead in the all-time head-to-head series of over-under. So you're trying to battle back level here this season. Would you like to give the first prop or hear the first prop?
I'll give the first prop here.
Okay. And I will say before we start, we have always tried to wait until the Moon Tower game happens. To this point, we have always done our personal game after they release their over-under game, right? Because they send that out to their listeners and everything. They haven't done it yet, so sorry, boys. If we have any overlap here, you got to do it sooner. It's our last episode before the season. So you said you want to give the first prop?
I'll give the first prop.
All right.
And look, I think you're legally binded to be forced to take the over here because
I'm not bound by anything.
No,
you over 50 thou.
You did say earlier.
Do anything.
I guess so. It means you're going to have to take the over here. But you did mention earlier that you thought the North End, favors would change in the big ball competition here.
Yeah.
Number of champions from the North End in best ball across all competitions, 0.5.
Okay, we're starting with the best ball. I've got a best ball question in here. But I kept it till the end. Okay, so this is in all comps. Are we including the secret pro rel league that's been going on for a couple years now in LDR? Because I won that last year.
No. So then no.
Okay, so only
can't trust those people.
Okay, so Pod League, Patreon leagues.
Pod League, and then we each have our own teams. So you got
right,
3.
So there's three teams.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get messy with the first pick.
I don't know if I'm taking Messi.
Okay.
I don't know if I am.
All right.
Verde Pendant, here we come, baby.
Okay, well, I don't even need the Patreon leagues because we're winning the Verde Best Ball League. Give me the over.
All right.
All right. Your first prop here in 2026. The first 3 are actually running back the first 3 from last year because I think these continue to be very, very steady, kind of set the tone, and keeps track of year over year how where the team is progressing in these metrics. So the first one, just like last year, how many goals will Austin FC score in regular season matches, right? So 34 goals. And, I've got I go above and beyond and maybe too far sometimes. So 2021, we had 35 goals. 2022, we had 65 goals. 2023, 49. The next season, 39. And last season, 37. That's an average of 45 per season. Your line for this year is set at 50.5, which we have only been over once, but we did have a 49 in 2023. Taking a line or taking the over here would mean we score north of 1.5 goals per game this season. 50.5 over under.
I'm going under.
Okay. E says under, and I toss it back to you.
Okay. Number of away match victories you and I personally witness.
Okay. So we've got 2 on the docket.
So we got 2 already on the docket. One is versus Miami to open their fucking stadium. So we're at 0.5.
Okay. Come on, man. It's fucking February. I'm into it. We're winning in Dallas. Over.
All right.
Finally. Come on. Fuck Dallas.
Take it.
Your second question. How many goal contributions will the DP3? And of course, that has changed this season. Now Vazquez, Torres, and Azuni. How many goal contributions will the DPs provide across MLS regular season matches this season? Now, if a DP gets moved on and we bring a new one in, we will count that towards this count. Okay. And I think if we send out a DP and don't bring one in, we'll figure that out if it comes. I don't think that's super likely. But for our top 3 goal contributors in Austin FC history. So this is not just the DPs. It's just who ended up the top 3 contributors each season. Expansion year 33. That's Fagundes, Dominguez, Driussi. 22, 61. That was Driussi, Fagundes, Ring, Finley, Arruti all had 11. 23, 40. Seba, Galley, Rigoni. 24, 30. Driussi, Obrian, Ring. And last year, 34, Wolf, Azuni, Buka. That's an average of 39.6 goal contributions per season from our top 3 goal contributors. But again, this is just the DPs. Your line is set at 45.5. That is an average of just over 15 contributions per player. Only Owen, Diego Fagundes, and Driussi twice have done that. Your line is 45.5.
I'm going under.
All right. I have killed Ian and his optimism here. It's mostly the team, but now I'm putting these lines where he just can't take the over. And, oh, man, I'm going to crush you in this if we're good.
Just going back to last season where I was like, over under 75 goals. Over.
Dude, yeah. Our lines were outrageous last year.
Just nuts. All right. Well, this one kind of goes with yours. Players who have double-digit assist totals on the season. We're on Soccerwise. We talked about double-digit goal scorers. I think we both went over 1.5. So I'm putting this one at just a half.
Okay, for double-digit assists?
Assists.
Okay, and we're counting the MLS, right, just like they count the secondary assists? Yeah, over.
A secondary assist? No.
Well, that's what they count that on the MLS website.
But they don't do it on.
So are you pulling from the stats that the league we're talking about uses, or are you talking about FB Rap?
Who cares about secondary assists?
The league that we're talking about.
That's too much. It's too much to track.
Okay, so change your wording. Primary assists
Primary
You have
assist.
to go through FB Ref. Okay.
You have to go through FB
When
Ref.
I listen back to this in October, I will hear that.
There we go. Noted.
Okay. Over.
Okay.
Look, if we're good, I'm winning this. If we're bad, you're winning this going away. At least so far. All right. And your third prop here before we start getting into some different ones. How many points will Austin FC record in the 2026 table? We had 31 points in the expansion year, 56 points in 2022. Then we went 39, 42, and 47 last season. So that is an average of 43 points per season. 47 last year. Line is set at 50.5.
God damn.
It's a good line. Because I know your optimism wants to say, hey, we could find 3 more points out there. But can you find 4?
Shut up, dude. Give me the over.
All right. There he goes.
Give it to me.
Now he's back.
All right.
Bunch of 1-0 wins, I think, coming, right, for you to hit all these.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got for me?
All right. Regular season only.
Okay.
Highest combined game score, 5.5.
Oh, over. Highest total?
Yep.
Yeah, over.
Okay.
All right. Look, I'm firing these quick today, brother.
Mine are straightforward. We're not talking about
true.
tertiary assists. Fucking.
All right, so this is a little bit of a remix here.
Okay.
Number of Austin FC players named to the MLS All-Star team. Because in non-host years, we've only had 2, Driussi and John Gallagher. So your line is a very simple 0.5.
Over.
All right. Somebody's getting in there. You want for an extra point, do you want to call who it is?
Stuver.
Oh boy, all right. I like it.
Some respect on his fucking name.
Stuver for an extra point. And that is a sanctioned point there. So you gotta hold you to that, or you gotta hold me to that. What do you got for me? This is question 5, I believe.
Number of finals games Austin appears in this season. 0.5.
So Open Cup, Leagues Cup, MLS Cup.
Correct.
Under.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a win-win. Because if we make it to a final, I'm happy. And if we don't, I get a point.
There we go.
All right. Your 5th question here. The number of MLS regular season matches where Austin FC scores multiple goals. In the expansion season, we did it 10 times. In 2022, we did it 18 times. In 2023, still 15 times. 11 in 24, and then just 10 last year, tying our club record low. So this line this year is set at 14.5 games out of the 34. So if you take an over, that is multiple goals in 44% of the regular season matches.
14.5, you said?
Yeah.
I know our Eastern Conference schedule is not as favorable as it was last year.
True.
I'm going over. I'll take it.
I like it.
I'll roll the dice here.
Look, as we go through this, you're starting to get back on board here.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got for me? Number 6.
Okay. This one, this is a little interesting because it can be potentially manipulated by you.
Nice.
Number of times confetti hits the field from the north end.
And just one Fetty.
I mean, it's going to be hard to keep track of one Fetty.
We've seen it before. If you see a Fetty on the field, you count it. Okay. And I'm enlisting the Pirates. You guys got to watch for this like a hawk. What's the line?
On. Pirates, I'm going to need some help here.
What's the line?
Only got 3 eyes. We're trusting the only dudes in the fucking stadium with less than 2 eyes per people to be our fucking tracker for this.
Okay, what's the line?
2.5.
Oh, over. Bro, there's gonna be fucking 3 goals on Saturday. I'm running down to the first
No,
one,
that
throwing
is not
confetti
allowed.
right on the field.
Not allowed. First of all, you'll get kicked out. You're gonna get kicked out for over under.
All right, you're right, but I'm launching it towards the pitch this year.
Yeah, there's got to be right wind conditions going on.
I know, dude. Wind is very rarely favorable to carry it down there to the guys.
It's true. Okay, over.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Thank you.
Number 6 for you, E. and this is kind of a return of last year, but we're going to change up the line a little bit because the question or the prop is jersey number of the Austin FC player who scores first in the North End this season. And this line was lower last year, but with Brandon Vazquez out to start the year, your line is set at 10.5. So you've got Azuni, you've got Jaden Nelson, you've got Danny, you've got Svatak, you've got Stuver, you've got Heist. Svatak has scored more goals from live play than Dani Pereira has in the North End.
That's true.
Danny has a PK and Svatak has a header.
Yep.
So don't look at me like that. The eye of Ukraine will come for you.
What number is Johnny again?
17. Well, now you're saying John's gonna score? You?
I joke. Jaden Nelson scoring the first goal in the North End, so I'm going under.
Okay. All right, nice. Well, I will celebrate double hard when it's Facu Torres. He says under.
Okay.
What do you got? Number 7.
Number of Austin FC playoff series wins, 0.5.
Okay. So can only be one, right?
Well, you beat someone head-to-head in one game. That's
not a series.
Yes,
a series
it
has
is.
to be no. It's a one-game series. That's called knockout, dude.
That's how the playoffs work.
Yeah, there's one series, but it doesn't matter because one is all you need. Okay, so I'm taking over because we're gonna win the best of 3 in the first round.
Okay.
Oh God, I might have 2 points this year. All right, number 7 for you. The number of comeback victories for Austin FC in 2026. Just regular season matches. In 2021, we had 1. In 22, we had 5. In 23, we had none. In 24, we had 5. And last year, we had 1. So if this trend continues, we're going to have 5 this year, E. So your line is set at 3.5. Comeback victories. Regular season only. So 34 matches, have to be trailing, and then get all 3 points. We've been over twice and under 3 times.
I'm going under.
All right.
Going under there. All right. Across all competitions, number of Damian Loss starts, 2.5.
I was actually thinking about this the other day because I think we both want and expect Damian to start at least the first Open Cup match.
Mm-hmm.
And if we keep winning, you would think he would stay in net. But we're not the only team who has made that swap as you continue through the tournament. And we got to win for him to get more than 2.5 starts.
You got leagues going.
But this is all competitions.
Yep.
And we should still account for Stuver has been incredibly reliable in terms of his availability.
Mm-hmm.
But freak accident, knock on wood, hopefully he never catches the fucking demon flu that we had. But I think that number is 1 for sure, Open Cup. So I need 2 more somewhere else, which could just be in the Open Cup. And I'm talking entirely too much about this. I'll take the over.
Okay. That's fair.
Now we need an Open Cup run in addition to all these overs that I'm taking for the regular season. We are not losing.
But not make it to the Open Cup final.
Yeah. Shit. Well, I'm going to get 1, maybe. Maybe. Fuck. All right, number 8. And last year, a little remix again here. We talked about yellow card suspensions in the regular season last year, E. But number 8, on the back of yesterday's performance, the number of red cards shown to Austin FC, we'll say players only, because I'm not going to remember if a coach gets red carded after a match. Number of red cards shown to Austin FC players across all comps and excluding preseason, because we're not starting with 2. Okay. So 2021, we had 4 reds. The next year we had 4, then 2, 3, and 2. So your line is 2.5 red cards. We've been over 3 times and under twice.
Man, recency bias definitely kicking in here for sure.
Team of motherfuckers.
Yeah, the Danny interview, I'll go over here. I'll go over. Okay.
He says over, believing in the motherfucker team. And number 9 from you to me.
Austin FC players who score a brace this season.
Okay.
1.5.
Over.
Okay.
I just gotta stick with this, man. I'm pushing the chips in.
Fire Matt. Yeah.
Okay, number 9 to you. Here's where your best ball question comes in.
Okay.
Where will E finish in the 2026 North End Podcast Best Ball Pyramid Tournament? The field is set, everybody, with 24 managers. The top 8 overall scoring teams will be put into our Premier League in the pyramid next season. So your line, E, overall is set at 8.5. Will you be in the Premier League next year or not?
Snap over.
Okay, snap over. Not taking Messi.
No, I might not. You never know.
Okay, keeping it close to the vest there.
I mean, you don't want Son there. You know what I mean? It's gonna play more probably.
Will he?
Yeah.
World Cup coming up for him we'll see.
I feel confident. Got Kevin Morris's little cheat sheet ready. By that time, I will have witnessed
data.
Plenty of best ball, big ball drafts going on here. This kind of stinks because my last one is a question that you gave to me, so I'm going to fire it right back at you. Austin FC All-Stars this season, 0.5. Scoring all these goals, someone's going to have to fucking be in the conversation.
But I'm going to need a point if it goes wrong, so I'm going to say under.
Jesus. You're fucking DVOA guy over here. Busting out the DVOA for over-unders.
All right, your last prop here, E. This is a new one here. The number of new player acquisitions in the secondary transfer window, right? That's July 13th to September 2nd this year. So this includes all new players added to the first team roster during the window. Expansion season, it was 4. Driussi, Gite, Gaines, and Wolf. 22, it was 2. Rigoni and Carozzo. This is Remember Some Guys segment here. 2023, it was 3. Matt Hedges, Memo Rodriguez, and Brandon Craig. 2024, it was 3. Svatak, Bukhari, and Dessler. Last year, it was 2, Djordjevic, and Boloko. Okay? So we know 2 international slots coming back. Yep. We know we have a buyout still. Yep. So your line for new player acquisitions in the secondary transfer window is set at 2.5. We've been over that 3 times and under that twice.
What happens if we sign Nicky Boloko again? He doesn't come over.
Well, I mean, if we sign him, then he's added to the first. This includes
doesn't
all
have
new
to
players
appear.
Added to the first team roster during the window.
Okay.
That player can also be removed, but if he was added at one point, it counts.
I think I'm going over here.
Yeah.
I think there's some real potential for this team to do a lot of stuff in the summer window.
Yeah.
I think if you're talking the Mirtu situation, what we've seen thus far, stuff going on there, these international slots coming back. I'm gonna go over. I'll go over.
All right. So that's 10 apiece, Ian. We have to have a tiebreaker. So our tiebreaker question this year is the total number of Austin FC goals scored in the North End this season across all competitions. So we have no idea with no Open Cup schedule yet, no Leagues Cup schedule yet. Some of those, rumor has it, some of those games might be in Mexico, which is awesome if that comes to pass. Yep. But we have no idea how many games will take place at the Q this year. We know 17 of them will, but the number could go up beyond that. So you want to say your number first or me? And it'll be closest to the number, no Price is Right rules.
I was going to Price is Right you.
No.
I was going to do you plus 1.
Yeah. See, we don't do that here.
You go first.
Okay. I will say 18.
18?
18.
All right.
So first, 18 goals in one end of the stadium is a lot.
Yeah, that's.
We only scored 37 total last year.
I'll go 15. 15.
Okay, there you have it. He has 15. I have 18. So again, that lean more towards if we're scoring more points for me. So appreciate everybody sticking with us through the 2026 nonsense, and appreciate you sticking if you made it all the way here to the end of the 2026 mega-sode. True sicko.
True.
You are. And E, before we get out of here, anything else you want to add before we head into the 2026 MLS season?
Can't believe it's here. Looking forward to seeing a lot of people. Come say what up.
Yeah, absolutely. I second all of that. Patreon members, we will be communicating to you about T-shirts and the like as the week goes on. Appreciate everybody tuning in, sticking with us here in episode 284 of the North End Podcast. We will be back next Sunday recapping Austin FC's season opening match against Minnesota United, and of course, talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then. Enjoy your week, everybody. We will do the same. We'll see you at the Q on Saturday and back here on Sunday for another episode. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.